You are listening to a Dynamicworksproductions podcast. This show is available on iTunes, Stitcher Radio Network, and many, many more podcast services around the world. You can find all our content, music, videos, books, podcasts, and more on our website, www.dynamicworksproductions.com. Have questions, comments, or concerns for us? Head on over to the social tab on www.dynamicworksproductions.com if you'd like to talk to us. Now, on with the show. Welcome back to another episode of the Fork in Your Ear podcast. I'm your host, as always, author, podcaster, and gamer, Tim K. Trotter. Joining me, like a well-toasted baguette next to a shiny fork on a dinner plate, the one, the only, Nate Fu.
Get that bread.
You'll have to go to the outtakes, guys, so you know what I'm laughing about internally. I couldn't even say it with a straight face. That's how ridiculous it is. Almost as ridiculous as the fact that I am operating off of 4 hours of sleep. But so it goes. The show must go on.
That's funny, because I think I took your 4 hours, because I think I'm operating off about 11 or 12.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right?
Good job. I'm glad I could help.
And yet I'm still sitting here with a cup of coffee in my hand.
Well, but I mean, you also need to power through the night as well. So, all right. Well, let's spin that ring. I even did a little extra due diligence and pulled up the computer Discord so I can see which ring spin means what instantaneously for the show's convenience. Here we go. All right. We have landed on Life Stories Fire.
Fire.
Cool. Here we go. Life Stories. That's what's up. So, what's going on in the life of Nate Fu?
Roof, roof.
Apologies in advance, folks, if
the dogs are on a tear tonight.
If the sound floor can't cut out the dogs, something is going on at the neighbors for sure.
Well, so. this the last 2 weeks in the life of the Mr. Fu have been sketchy and hectic at best.
Okay.
You know, again, I'm doing this weird overnighter shift, which is why I'm having to power through after the podcast here and drinking coffee at 9 o'clock at night. But we just hit the end of the month, which typically has, that's when everything comes due.
Sure.
So, yeah, it's been a nightmare around the shop on, again, being the last shift, everything gets pushed to the end. So I've been not having a whole lot of relaxing days at work. And when I come in, it's just a crap show of what it is I'm going to have to work on. I was very happy to get the 12 hours of sleep I got today, because I haven't been getting much in the way of quality sleep.
Sure.
For the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, my week of sleep was odd because I had all of the opportunities to get a good full night's rest.
Mm-hmm.
And brain said no.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, part of the issue is when I get home at 5, I get off work at 5:30. I get home at 6. My kids wake up.
Yeah.
And again, there's the hour of getting them ready to go to school or whatever they are doing this week.
Mm-hmm.
And frequently it's been kicking me into second wind mode. So
Okay.
everybody walks out the house, 7 o'clock. Right. I go and lay back down in bed, and my brain goes, no, that's not happening. It's 7 o'clock in the morning. You need to think about this.
Yeah.
So around
I
9:30
understand.
or so, when I'm finally just absolutely exhausted, is when I finally pass out.
Hmm. I see.
In a bright
I
room
see.
in California
Yeah.
where I can't figure out whether it's winter or summer. I've had 43-degree nights. On
Hmm.
Monday, I had a 72-degree night last night. I think it's currently 75 outside now.
Hmm. Well, slightly crossing over into game stuff and what I've been playing, but as part of the life thing, we've been having crazy wind, rain, thunderstorms over here. And last Friday, Thursday, like Friday or Thursday, um, like our power got knocked out
Mm-hmm.
at like 11 a.m. until like 9 p.m.
Ooh,
It was out a long time. Um, and since I live in a main suburbia, that's a really long time for the suburbia to be without
right.
power. So I made the best of it and went back to Luigi's Mansion 3 on the Switch, plugged into
A power
various
brick.
external batteries that have enough oomph to power that 4.5, 4.7 watt hour battery.
Mm-hmm.
um so
Hey, as
we've been
long as you
getting
didn't have to
crazy
break out the
storms.
deck of cards and play canasta with the wife. That's.
Well, I mean, she was at work,
Ah,
so no siree Bob. Yeah, but it was weird, like there was, we've been getting like branches and shit like flying down and like my gutters are plugged
mm-hmm.
and then throughout the week, this week, like the lights have been like flickering, and then like while I'm doing computer work for my day job, like it's flickering just enough not to kill the power or the internet, but
Right.
like the screen dims on the fucking computer monitor, and you're like, come on, baby.
You're like,
Come on, baby.
is it gonna happen? No?
Exactly.
Is my
Exactly.
computer currently writing to a file?
Yeah. Um let's see. So I had that going on, and then last night, which is why I'm so tired, I did um back on track because last year didn't happen because of COVID. We did the annual Halloween haunted house crawl
Yes.
last night. And yeah, not really a lot of crazy stories. Like everything like went pretty smoothly. Um we went to a new well, we hadn't gone to it before. We went to this place in Tacoma called Fright Station or something, and it's like literally next to the train station.
Mm-hmm.
And it was funny because I didn't know where it was exactly, and it turns out it was in this old like wooden mall that's like kind of like this weird boutique mall, and they like closed it down, and then like the top and bottom floor they just like changed everything up and made this like gigantic haunted house, which was interesting because it was legitimately huge. um and it was pretty good. It was a lot of fun.
So
um
in the spirit of Halloween, they took over an abandoned building.
yeah. Actually, we were talking to this guy because they had this like video of like a story or
Mm-hmm.
something. And they were like, yeah, well, we didn't really get to do it last year, so we like shot a story video for like plot for this year while we rejiggered the sets and stuff. I was like, okay, that's interesting. But went there with my wife and my videographer buddy that I often mention on the show. I need to get him on the show one of these days. Jay, and we got to indoctrinate his 14-year-old son into the order of the Halloween annual
Spooky
haunted house
houses,
crawl.
yes.
Yeah.
How'd that go?
He was pretty good. He didn't get so much jump scared in the first haunted house, but there was a couple of them that like brought him down to the floor in the other one that we went to in Seattle. The first one was pretty tame for him. People jump out and he'd be like, "Hello,"
Right.
to the
Hello.
people, and it's like, oh, you 14-year-old you. But actually, a cute little anecdote from when we were standing in line waiting. There was, I assume, a father and his kid. I don't know. He looked really young to be a father. He could have been older brother. Hard to say, But he like poked my wife on the back and was asking her like what her favorite horror films were, and then they struck up this whole conversation about Friday the 13th, and then he was talking about why the reboot is much better than the original. And they're talking about all this blood and gore and stuff in the middle of realizing this really adult conversation. The dad steps in and is like, I promise he's a good kid.
Yeah, I have a lot of friends that
was pretty fantastic, actually.
through the Ren Fair circuit, on the off season, Halloween tends to fall in it, so a lot of the performers there go and do the spooky houses. And the stories I hear about, you're guaranteed, a bunch of them, will tell you you're guaranteed to get punched at least once over the run of a season.
Oh, sure. Just knee-jerk reaction,
right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So we went for sushi before the freight station. No, not the place that we ate at. And then it was a different town.
Okay.
Then we went to the freight station, quaffled about a bit in Tacoma about whether or not we could squeeze in a third haunted house before everything closed down for the night. Logistics did not work out on that. So we ended up opting for going to, because we always end at the Georgetown Morgue in Seattle, which is like a staple of haunted house stuff, at least for our crawl, because it's consistently like the best haunted house.
Okay.
Year after year.
Is it a morgue in the regular season, or is it?
No.
Okay.
It's like an escape room.
Gotcha.
Something events kind of place, but all the performers and stuff are people from like the Seattle theater and stuff like that. So they're like really good at doing the acting spooky and set designs and all that sort of stuff. So they're like, at least top tier as far as around here goes.
Like, I mean, we have a place out here, the Hollywood Forever Cemetery, that will throughout the summer they will actually put they bring a projector out and you watch movies on the side of a mausoleum, and on Halloween they typically show like either some sort of horror flick in the middle of a cemetery.
Fair enough.
So when you say the Georgetown Morgue, it's like that would be funny if a morgue or a what would you call it? Where they display the dead. Mortuary. That's the word I'm looking for.
I was about to say mortuary.
Like if one of those places were to do a haunted house over the season, that would be kind of amusing to me. Especially a morgue.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I mean, there's probably like health codes or something. I don't know. I have no idea. So we went to Georgetown Morgue, which is where we usually always end up. And like they must have had some pent up stuff from last year, because we were getting like attacked in line to get into the place. There was like a devil dude. This guy came by with a cattle prod. fucking clown with a chainsaw came at us at one point.
God.
Like, I was like, shit, we're waiting to get into the thing.
Right.
What the fuck's gonna be inside then? And man, they holy shit, they brought it this year. Honestly, it was the best. It's probably the best year yet, apart from the one year where we donated blood to skip the line and we went in and we were like woozy high. But yeah, no, all of their performers brought it. We had been warned on our tickets when we purchased them that there was only like 25% actors and then a lot more animatronics because of COVID and shit. But like A, their animatronics were really good, and B, these theater fucks cleverly blended in like themselves with the animatronics. So it's like you're always double taking with this shit, and it's like, oh, it was good. And they were like, man, like there was this fucking like miner, like a coal miner like chick with like an axe, and she followed us through like 3 of the sets, and I was like, Jesus Christ, she's still following us. And yeah, they had like all kinds of crazy stuff, and they had like a dude who came out of like a gut of some dismembered prop, but then he like comes out and he must have had like a small Dremel or something next to a piece of metal, and he starts like sparking up stuff, and it's like really horrifying in the dark, and it's like, oh Jesus. And then there was this ghost, like probably like a dead bride or something, like white gown and black flowers, and she was following my friend Jay's kid, whose name is Max, and he like turned around and he freaked out and he like fell down onto the ground and like scurried back into a wall and shit. And I was behind and fortunate enough to see it, which was hilarious from my perspective. Yeah, and then there's like a bunch of different things, and it goes by pretty fast. And then it ended with like, it was weird because like they were doing like instead of like one continuous theme, they were doing like every couple of rooms, like it was differently themed this year. And then we go through this, like, it was really weird because it was just kind of unsettling, this like clothes rack like maze, like just all these like weird dirty clothes just like hanging so you can't see, and you're like pushing through them. And you push through, and then you're in a fucking neon like bendy mirror funhouse shit thing, and you're just like, what the fuck? And you're like wandering around and you're looking for the exit, and then there's like a long hallway and you can see yourself in the mirror at the end of the hall, and you're going down the hall, and then because there's a mirror in front of you, the fucking clown with the chainsaw comes out behind you and starts fucking chasing you.
And you don't know where to go because there's no clear exit.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck? So yeah, it's a good time. It's a good time. And then we stuck around after we made it to the exit, because this chainsaw clown, like, he was going ham. Like, there was like some like little teenage girls who, they came as like a little posse, and he like fucking chased them out down the street. Like, I was like, holy shit. It was ridiculous.
Making up for 2 years of pent-up aggression there.
Oh, I guess. Because we watched him so long and we could see him in the light, outside of the sets of the morgue. Some of the scary went away because I saw that he had a fucking the chainsaw was a battery powered Ryobi. And I was like, okay, that's less terrifying now.
Yeah, but I mean that makes sense, because imagine having to sit there and crank this thing up every.
Oh, right? Sure, yeah, absolutely. Plus, like, gas.
Right. Closed area, gas.
Exactly. So yeah, so we did that, and then went back to Jay's place, and we were gonna watch a movie, but it was like midnight, and then we ended up chatting and made French toast, and then Jessica wanted to sleep in her own bed, so we didn't get back to like 3 in the morning, and then of course she goes to bed, and then my brain's like, so what are we doing? And I'm like, no, please. So festivities and driving home late, and then I stayed up till fucking 6 like a fucking crazy person before
So it
my
goes.
body finally gave out and relented to sleep. And then me and Jessica were still so wiped out when we woke up, we decided to just be lazy bums slash absolutely terrible for me, because of course I'm allergic to all this food, so we had like a bunch of fucking McDonald's. And we're still fucking recovering. So yeah, so that's kind of been what's up in the life department. Oh, I mean, we do have trying to remember if I talked about it. So we got Halloween lights up and
Mhm.
stuff, because we're gonna do or at least we'll
Trick or
see.
treaters, yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna do trick or treaters. I changed out the front bulbs on my porch and
Right.
stuff into like reds and orange and stuff like that. So we'll see. We'll see, because Jessica bought fucking $60 worth of fucking candy.
That's a lot of candy.
That no shit, it's a lot of candy.
I
It's
think we
like,
I think we got like 4 of the whatever the random assortment bags. We
yeah,
only got like 4 of them.
she's got like 4 of those, and then some of the Hershey ones, and then there's
Mhm.
like a Tootsie one, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I didn't even get the lights up this year. I still have the Christmas lights up, which I usually just I swap out 2 of the strands.
Mm,
We have some purple and orange lights that I hang up around the front of the house, and I have a little kind of a little courtyard graveyard that I usually set up, and I didn't even get that done this year because
yeah,
again,
yeah,
working nights.
sure.
Like I haven't had the time or the energy. So the wife did what little bit she could. Put like a cobweb over the jungle gym we have in the front yard, and we have
Mm-hmm.
a crashed witch into our tree. But that's basically it.
Well, that's cool.
I think our plans are, well, before it gets too dark, take the girls out around the neighborhood, do a quick round of trick or treating, and then everyone's coming back over here while I put the kids to bed, and they're gonna hang out on the front porch. And if anyone shows up, give them candy.
Cool.
So we're not
Cool.
expecting a whole lot of turnout. Like nobody, like typically our neighborhood is really really well decorated, and there's maybe
Mm-hmm.
4 houses that I've seen that actually that put um
Sure.
yeah, put time into it.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll have the lights up, and we're gonna put out a sign, because I live behind a house. I
Hmm.
have a long driveway. And I'm gonna put out some I have some LED uh wand lights that I use for work, and they've got an emergency mode with red blinking flashers and
Hmm.
stuff. Um Try to direct people, let people know if that's what they're doing. It's interesting because like my neighborhood like didn't have fucking jack all up like the last 2 weeks, and then the last couple of days I'm like, oh, people
Yeah,
people
everyone kind of last minuted it.
looks like things are gonna maybe happen.
Mhm.
So we shall see.
Yeah, the only
And
house that I can see from mine is the one house that they absolutely go all out every year with animatronics, and like they have
oh
a
geez.
they're not quite like the synced Christmas light things, but they have
Hmm.
animatronic clowns on the front yard. They have a play set, and they set up stuff to trigger. They have fog going the entire time, and yeah, we walk by it with my kids. I think my oldest was 2 at the time. No, my youngest
Okay.
was just newborn. Um, and nope, they both just noped out of that, and we haven't been real keen to go down that street during Halloween since.
Hmm.
So
Fair enough.
yeah,
Fair enough. Yeah. Let's
they're
see. I'm
they're they're
trying.
4 and 3 now, so I don't think they're quite ready for the scary part of the Halloween experience. And
Hmm.
so
Yeah,
yeah,
I
we'll
gotcha.
we'll roll them around and then just fill their buckets with candy and then suffer through the next 2 weeks of them being on a sugar high.
Yeah, I guess that is what occurs when you're a parent that has
Oh,
children.
Lord help us.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything else much of note. Personal life stories
Yeah, not
that
really.
would be interesting. So, all right, well, let's mosey right along here. Let me pull up the Discord screen some more.
Mm-hmm. Bling.
And that is entertainment. So, what have you been not watching?
Well, I got halfway through Dune.
Oh, okay. So, as someone who you've read the books, right?
Yes.
Okay, as
Long,
someone who's
long
read the
time ago.
books, what did you think of the first half?
Um, I'm impressed.
Okay.
So, I think they're telling the story very well.
Okay.
So, and again, visually just top notch. I can't say enough about how good this movie looks. And I didn't see it in like I now that I've watched it at home, I kind of now want to go to a theater and watch it.
Hmm. Yeah. So this is becoming a catchphrase now.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the thing with Dune. So I've seen Dune a total of 2 times now.
New Dune, right?
Yeah, to
Not
be clear, new
right.
Dune,
Not old Dune, not Dune
2021's
the Dune the miniseries.
Yeah, I've seen all the other ones multiple times, and I've read the book multiple times. So when I first saw the film, I like the acting, I like the art direction,
Mm-hmm.
sound design, I liked everything about the film. But I was betwixt by its pacing and the shortcuts they took to distill information on screen or lack thereof.
Mm-hmm.
And then further confused by some scenes that were in there. And I'm like, this is not a relevant scene to book 1 of Dune. It's relevant later, and I can see why aspiring mega movie franchises would want to put some breadcrumbs and stuff there.
Mm-hmm.
But there's much better stuff that could have filled that 2-minute scene void. So I had a complicated relationship with the first viewing of Dennis, or Denise, I guess is how it's pronounced because he's French or some
Mm-hmm.
shit. I'm not even gonna pretend to spell
New Dune. Yes.
I was saying his last name.
Yeah.
Villa something. I don't know. So yeah, so I had a complicated relationship. Jessica is a Dune is a Dune neophyte.
Mm-hmm.
So this is her first exposure to any kind of Dune, despite the fact that she bought the book in anticipation of the movie, but didn't read it before the movie. But whatever. As an aside, that's a weird thing because my Jessica, she actually reads like 12 fucking books a week. So
Yeah. See, I wasn't a
Yeah.
big reader, so the last time I read Dune was 1990.
Yeah, I don't even remember when I read it. I listened to it on audiobook last summer during the boring COVID times.
Mm-hmm.
And then I actually listened to maybe the first 6 hours or so of the audiobook again in between Dune viewings, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
Jessica's critique of the movie being a Dune neophyte was she felt, despite the fact that there was a lot of exposition, the exposition was so brief and bare, and there was so many of them that she struggled to get all of the appropriate data that was attempting to be distilled, in a head nod, a wink, an inference, or a single line whereas it's whole chapters in the book.
Mm-hmm.
But she, she came away, she liked it overall, but definitely felt that as someone who is totally new to Dune, that it's not noob friendly.
Yes.
Um, that was her take on it, which was interesting because a couple of days later, I watched it with my folks, who of course have read the books many, many times.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not recently, I would guess. And they were ecstatic about it. They're like, "Oh, I remember this. Oh, I remember this. Oh, this is just
Right.
like how I thought it would be in the book. Oh, this is like this." And so it was interesting watching them watch it because it was like, okay, well, it's matching clearly what they remember of Dune.
Mm-hmm.
So clearly it's doing something incredibly right.
And that's how I felt. And maybe that's what it is. Like, we didn't finish close the book and then go see the movie. Or we didn't just rewatch the first iteration or the miniseries and then walk into the theater. So we didn't have that fresh comparison.
Well,
but we have context that Jess did not.
Well, and it's funny you bring up the miniseries because I started her on the 2000 Sci-Fi Channel Dune miniseries. And the first episode of that miniseries covers literally everything and more than what's covered in the theatrical movie.
Sure.
Which is kind of hilarious because Jessica's interpretation of that after seeing the first installment of the miniseries was like, that gave me all the data I was totally missing and wanted from the new Dune.
And that miniseries was probably built around people that had never read the book. Whereas I think this latest release kind of assumes you have exposure to
the
Duneverse.
I don't know. There's probably a fan name for it that we're butchering now, and someone is screaming at their podcast headset. Iraqians or something, Fremenese or something. So, like I said, I watched it a second time after all of this, and I listened to part of the book again, and it was interesting seeing my my parents' enjoyment of the film, who were ecstatic all the way through, and seeing it a second time, knowing what I'm in for, I could kind of see, maybe like kind of put myself in the shoes of either the director or potentially the film editor, because for we don't know how much they shot.
Right.
For all we know, we'll get an extended version next year, to hype people up further, since it's been officially confirmed that part 2 is greenlit, but it's not shooting till next fall, and it's not coming till 2023.
Right.
Which is crazy.
I mean, or even if any footage from this current filming is going to make it into that.
Exactly. And it's one of those things because Dune's universe is so vast, and there's so much stuff covered in the first book. And if you're holding a paper version, or you probably can see it on the Kindle or the ebook version as well, but Dune was originally published as 3 novellas, and then later it was compressed into a full book, because when you open it, it's like Dune book 1, blah 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 blah, chapter Dune book 2, blah blah blah, Dune book 3. So it's going to be interesting because even in comparing the new movie to the miniseries, and the miniseries is about 6.5 hours long, I believe.
Right.
And the first episode of that covers literally everything that the movie does and more, and with more clarity. Although obviously it looks like garbage, but it's much more faithful to the book. I'm struggling to wonder how the fuck he's gonna wrap it up in just one more movie, and I'm just like, I hope they have a plan that doesn't, like, because seeing it a second time, it's like, okay, I can accept some of the things that they changed, and some of the things I can see why that decision might have been made for this to occur, but then it's like, so much more stuff happens. And I don't know how they're going to get that on screen in another 2.5 hour movie.
Right, without
You know?
it feeling forced.
Exactly. Because that is one thing that I will say this version of Dune does, despite the fact that a lot of things do happen, they do let scenes breathe. Which I think is always definitely something that can definitely be a negative on book adaptation movies.
Sure.
But overall, I personally gave it an 8 out of 10 because they did nail pretty much everything else. The visuals were utterly amazing and unique, and didn't look like other sci-fi films or even the prior Dune films. The still suits looked a little bit like the 1980s movies, and there's potentially a couple of nods in there just from the fact that, you know, that movie exists.
Probably.
So yeah, it's interesting. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what you think about the other half of the movie.
Right.
Um,
And I think,
yeah.
you know, from what I've seen, I think an 8 out of 10, and not just what I've physically seen, but what I've seen on the interwebs and in my circle of friends, 8 out of 10 is a pretty fair score.
Yeah. Yeah. Either way, I am happy it is getting a sequel because more Dune is a good thing. If I were to have written a review, you know, like the top tag of the thing before reading the rest of the content of the review, it would probably say something like, great movie, wish it was an HBO Max show.
Right. Well, and honestly, it feels a lot like it should have been.
Sure.
Like, this could have very easily been HBO's next Game of Thrones.
Well, and that's the funny thing is because, you know, I was actually just talking about this with my friend Jay last night on the Halloween Crawl, who is a film buff, but he's never read Dune, never heard Dune, and he's a huge Star Wars fan. And I was like, so what's your take on Dune? Because Dune
is the hero's journey.
Is the progenitor
right.
of Star Wars. Like, those who don't know, because there's a bunch of people on the internet being like, oh, Dune rips off Star Wars. And it's like, hold up, son.
Yeah. No.
Star Wars is Dune.
Right.
You can shut the fuck up now and go back to your room. And after you've turned in your thesis paper on why you're wrong, yeah, you know, Dune is Star Wars, and Dune was Game of Thrones before Game of Thrones was a thing. You know, that's, you know, and, you know, the other thing that a lot of people don't know, especially because it's not really addressed in the first book, but it's a cool backstory thing that's addressed later, is Dune is actually post-apocalyptic, because this is after the AI revolution, and they had to like stamp out bits of technology.
Right.
You know, and it, you know, they don't address that in the first book at all. So I don't know why I'm saying it now, but it's just an interesting point of the world where it's like Dune did a lot of groundwork for other sci-fi stuff. So,
right.
You know, there's a reason why it's so revered.
Speaking of AI and post-apocalyptic, and just to get us away from Dune here, because we've now spent 45 minutes on it. It's okay. I've actually I'm about 2 episodes away from finishing up my rewatch of Sarah Connor Chronicles.
Oh my god, have we talked about that?
We have a long time ago. You're like,
oh my gosh, that's a blast from the past,
right?
That show's good.
Yeah, I'm right in the midst of the point where you know, Shirley Manson is building and teaching the AI.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, that's man, that's one I wish.
Yeah, I'm gonna be heartbroken again when I get to the end of the season and go, right, there isn't another one.
Yeah, well, super funny because, you know, if we didn't have Sarah Connor Chronicles, we'd never have Lena Headey as Cersei in Game of Thrones, because she played Sarah Connor in that series. Yeah, that's a great series. I haven't seen it in. When did that show come out? I haven't seen that in a long time.
2009, 6 or 9 or
something like that.
yeah.
How does the special effects in that show hold up?
The special effects hold up pretty good, other than the liquid metal wasn't quite, especially on a TV budget, wasn't really.
Oh, sure.
Um,
yeah, no, that was
yeah,
hit the Adobe effect and then move on.
exactly.
And that's fine.
And the little things I have to remind myself that everyone's using flip phones.
Oh God. Oh God.
Right.
That's terrible. Yeah. Well, I encourage all you Fork fam out there, take a look at Terminator, the Sarah Connor Chronicles. Ran for 2 seasons, stars Lena Headey
stars a lot of people that you like. You watch and you go, yeah. I know that person from here. I know that person from here.
Yeah, the dude who played John Connor was the friend to Hayden Panettiere's character in the TV show Heroes.
Mm-hmm.
And then the good Terminator in that is Summer Glau from Firefly
fame, yes.
Yeah. And yeah, there's
and then the FBI agent is currently in The Rookie.
I have not watched that show, so I don't know that, but that's okay.
But he's been in a bunch of other stuff. The ambulance driver has been in a bunch of stuff, like Sarah Connor's boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's just like going through on the rewatch, like I know this person, I know this person, I know this person. So I don't know if this launch padded a bunch of careers, but or just grabbed them in for an ensemble
definitely
cast.
Had
and obviously, Brian Austin Green was in it for the second season.
Yep.
And then Shirley Manson. Who knew Shirley Manson could act?
And then let's not forget to mention the fantastic original soundtrack by Bear McCreary.
Mm-hmm.
Truly one of his better ones. It's a really good score. Not just for Bear McCreary, but for Terminator in general. Like It's fucking solid.
What's funny is like you go through the titles from season 1 to season 2, and about halfway through season 2, and maybe this was the death knell. Like the opening titles just disappeared. Right. The first one, it had I guess Lena Headey narrating or monologuing over the intro, and then the first half of the second season. And I hear this guy do voiceovers on TikTok all the time. But yeah, they had like a professional, Sunday type voiceover guy.
Yeah.
Narrate the titles, and yeah, they did a little bit better cut on the characters. And then about halfway through, it's just like title roll in, but just banner, and then move on with the show. And I'm like, knowing now what I knew, what I didn't know then, maybe that was the beginning of the end.
Yeah, I mean, it was on the Fox network. We all know how the Fox network was in that era. And then it was further complicated by the fact that Fox didn't own the rights to the show, because the Terminator rights at that point in time were very complicated.
Still are.
Yeah, it's just one of those things, But that's cool. I'm glad you got to rewatch something.
Yeah.
Let's see. So what have we been watching?
Split the difference. It was 2008.
Okay, so 2008 to 2009 was probably when it ran then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I was close.
Yes.
So we started the Apple TV show Invasion, which is about, we think, maybe an alien invasion. We're 3 episodes in.
You would hope so with that name?
I mean, it's a very mysterious show in a good way. So I'm enjoying the long tease and the mysterious things. It's character focused rather than let's solve this invasion. At least 3 episodes in. And so it takes place with like, God, I don't even know how big the cast is. Like a lot of different characters and people, like all over the globe. And it stars a little known actor called Sam Neill in it. I say jokingly because
Right.
all the movies. Yeah, it's really good. It's got really good music by Max Richter. All the other actors besides Sam Neill are, I've never heard of them, but they, what the fuck? Somebody just drove up to my house? Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it is only 10. Let me,
Go check it out.
yeah, hang on. I'm just gonna text Brock.
Get the gun.
Yeah. Hang on.
Mm-hmm. All good?
It was indeed a DoorDash for Brock.
Okay.
We're all good. Just startled the shit out of me because I was focusing on what I was saying. And then, like, it's weird because, like, I'm looking out the window so I can look over the driveway right now.
Right.
And then I just suddenly see a car and lights and a door car slam. What the fuck was I saying?
I don't remember. I was listening intently for anything I might have had to call in.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate you, pal. Invasion.
Yes.
It's good. It's on Apple TV Plus. Like everything on Apple TV Plus, it's shot beautifully, well acted.
On
Just
iPhone Pro 13s?
Maybe not for TV series this season, but probably next year. Yes. Yeah, it's good so far. It's got my interest peaked. The character stories are worthwhile in getting to know the characters, and obviously the sci-fi mystery to unravel is dope. Really love that Apple TV Plus can be like a bastion for good sci-fi.
Sure.
In all honesty. We finished season 2 of C, starring Jason Momoa, and in season 2 also Dave Bautista. Man, that was a hell of a finale. Really good show. Very much recommend that to anybody who's got access to that service. And then, because I was curious, apparently season 3 already got greenlit and is actually already filming, which is interesting. And I almost wonder if the reason, like, I guess they're set. Google says that they're set to wrap filming today on season 3, which means they were filming it over the summer, which, to my mind, knowing that Jason Momoa is the star of that, and he's currently in London shooting Aquaman, I'm thinking they had to shoot season 3 now before they lost him. You know what I mean?
Sure.
That'd be my guess.
Yeah.
But either way, I was surprised because I hadn't heard an official renewal from Apple on that as of yet. So, but it's happening for sure because it's apparently already filmed. So now they've just got a lot of post. So yeah, that's good. So we finished that. Both myself and Jessica forgot a lot of important details about the first season of actually the launch title for Apple TV Plus, the morning show. So we've been slowly rewatching that and it's been a lot of, oh man, this show's really good, and then it's like, oh yeah, I remember this thing now because season 2's been out since September. So we're like, we should probably get to this at some point. And then we were like quaffling over starting season 2, and we're just like, do we remember this well enough? Because that premiered almost 2 years ago, because they had a year gap because of COVID,
Right.
unlike some other shows. So it was like, it's like one of those things, like when a TV show is like, oh yeah, we finally got another season. What the fuck was happening? Who is this person? You know how it goes.
Yeah.
Let's see, anything else? I don't think so. Still watching Netflix's You. We're on to the 3rd season now, which is new for Jessica. I think Jessica likes season 3 more than I do, and I find myself gravitating to the phone more often this season. But it's still a really strong show.
Okay.
Now that I think about it, there's a Star Trek show that started on Friday that I have not seen. Pretty sure Star Trek Prodigy started on Friday because people were talking about it on Twitter.
Right, the new animated. Gotcha.
Yeah, the animated one. It's got some really good CGI animated shit, and it's got Kate Mulgrew back as Captain Janeway. So yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out and see if it's just for kids or if it's, not really for kids, but billed is for kids.
Right, and that one's Paramount Plus.
Yes, formerly CBS All Access.
Right.
I think that does it for. Oh no. Okay, so I can confirm because I read the fucking article in Empire magazine. So Spider-Man No Way Home. Officially confirming that both Sandman and Lizard will be in Spider-Man No Way Home, played by their original actors from previous films. So Thomas Hayden Church, Sandman from the Sam Raimi Spider-Man 3, and then Reese Ifren, I don't know, he's like Scottish or something, who played the Lizard in the first Andrew Garfield Amazing Spider-Man.
Okay.
Those are 100% out of the bag, confirmed to be in the film. So, that's stuff. Oh yeah, and then the last thing on entertainment was Sony dropped a trailer for the video game adaptation movie form of Uncharted,
Right.
starring Tom Holland as Nathan Drake and Mark Wahlberg as
Sully?
As Sully. That's what the cast sheet says. Yeah. So have you seen this trailer?
I have not. I do see it in the Discord, though.
Okay. So I think you should probably give it a watch because I want to experience your reactions as someone who's probably not familiar with the Uncharted video games intimately. Like,
Okay.
I'm sure you know of them and seen them because they've been around for like a decade now. But like, I want to see what your take is of this movie.
Okay. Let me bring it up full screen here. I don't know if you can hear you probably can't hear it, but I can. It'll be in my cut.
That's fine. I'm totally okay with that. I used to play trailers like into the microphone back in the day. So it's fine with me.
Okay. It's a lot of Tom Holland with pensive look on his face so far.
Yep.
Okay, and we're running along roofs and swimming against alligators. Hey, and it's
Uh-huh.
Antonio Banderas. Hmm. All right. Feels very Tomb Raider-ish.
Sure. And those who are familiar or not familiar with the games, Uncharted is basically a modern day Indiana Jones.
Okay.
More akin to particularly the rebooted Tomb Raiders in
Right.
style
Yeah.
than prior, and definitely more Indiana Jonesy than most things.
Sure.
So obviously, I'm completely biased because I actually play in like the Uncharted games,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm torn because I really genuinely like Tom Holland as a person, as an actor. You know, having seen The Devil's in Me all the time and Cherry, his like super dramatic, fucked up dark works, you know, and then his wonderful take on Spider-Man and Peter Parker.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just torn because God, man, that is not Nathan Drake, man. Like
No,
he's wearing a Nathan Drake outfit, that's for sure. But like I think the thing that gets me, and having had time to stew and distill this, is he's trying to play it stoically,
but he can't really do stoic.
and A, he's not pulling off stoic. And then B, Nathan Drake is plucky as fuck. Nathan Drake is basically fucking
Nathan Fillion.
Nathan Fillion. So much to the fact that Nathan Fillion did an Uncharted fan film,
Mm-hmm.
like in 2017. That is fucking fantastic, actually, because A, he looks like Nathan Drake. B, he basically is Nathan Drake. I'm sure somewhere in the script is like, we need to find a Nathan Fillion type character for
Right.
this role.
That won't cost what Nathan Fillion costs.
Sure. Yeah. Or I don't know. I don't know if he's an expensive actor. I have no idea. Um, you know, and then we've got Mark Wahlberg, who I've actually seen some interesting arguments online, and people would argue that generally Mark Wahlberg's characters in action films is more of a Nathan Drake type than Tom Holland is. But here he's playing Sully, who should have a soup catcher mustache,
Mm-hmm.
like, and is supposed to be like the older, doting, wise con man sort of dude who shows him the ropes of treasure hunting. Um, and it's just Mark Wahlberg being Mark Wahlberg.
Right.
And it's like, I mean, I don't know why I should have expected something different. It's cool for the fans that it looks like they're showing some actress playing a character known from the games is Chloe Frazier,
Mm-hmm.
because she's very much a Catwoman, Black Cat kind of sexy foil that always fucks over the heroes,
Right.
kind of character. Um, and it was neat that Antonio Banderas is playing the villain. I'm always a fan of Antonio Banderas and think
Mm-hmm.
he's super underrated. I don't know why he hasn't gotten more roles over the years.
X versus Sever, maybe killed it for him.
Okay, you know what? I liked X versus Sever.
I did
okay?
too, but I didn't
I
have
liked
any
X versus
expectations
Sever,
going into it.
and I played the fucking 3D first-person shooter video game on the Game Boy Advance. I have you know, good sir.
Yes. The movie was horrible, though. It was horrible.
It was definitely not great, but it was kind of fun.
Yes.
You know, and then going back to Uncharted, you know, I mean, it's directed by the dude who directed Venom 1, so I don't know. Like what I'm seeing in the trailers looks better, than what was in Venom.
Mm-hmm.
But everything in the trailer also were basically scenes from the video games. And then very weirdly, it looks like they're doing a mishmash of the story from the third video game and the fourth video game. And it's just like, what the fuck are you doing, Sony?
Are they just trying to get name recognition so that when they put out a game, it people will buy it?
Well, I don't know if you stayed to the end there, but there's already a thing for the Uncharted Legacy Collection coming
Well,
next
of
year to
course.
PS5 for
Yeah.
it. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna see it because I'm curious, and because I like to support video game adaptations for movies, even if they're terrible. I'm looking at you, Assassin's Creed.
Right.
So yeah, we'll see an Uncharted. And then another thing about Uncharted, which I'm very nervous about, is it going to have Uncharted's music? Because one thing that's unique to Uncharted is it has actually a really iconic theme. Ironically, composed by Greg Edmonson, who composed the music for Firefly.
Right.
And he does this amazing Indiana Jones-ish theme that's totally its own thing. But it's like it's one of the rare video game motifs that's super memorable. I'd argue, maybe not quite on the same level as Halo, but it's one when you hear it. And they did the thing, like, it's so weird because the trailer feels like a Spider-Man trailer. Like, it's probably cut by the same person at Sony, because it's like the Spider-Man trailer starts with like the piano notes of the old 60s 70s Spider-Man theme,
Mm-hmm.
that's been being played. And then here in Uncharted, it also starts with the piano notes. That's like the first little ditty of the Uncharted theme. And I'm just like, man, if they don't have the fucking theme in this movie, I don't know. Somebody needs to die. I don't know.
Well,
Totally biased.
I was just looking up the IMDb to see if I could answer some of those questions, and apparently this is supposed to be a prequel to the entire game series, so maybe that accounts for the youth.
Yeah, not
of the
if
characters.
they're doing. So here's the thing. So Uncharted 3,
Mm-hmm.
the game, literally starts with the first meeting of Sully and Drake. And it sure as shit isn't flipping cocktails in New York. And then Uncharted 4 is about a pirate ship treasure. And then Uncharted 3 also has a scene that's very famous because it was in all the video game trailers of him falling out of a fucking big transport plane and like hopping from netted cargo things to netted cargo things. And so we've got this mishmash of shit. He's mentioning his brother Sam, which is very much an Uncharted 4 thing. And it's just like, what? And the villain, he's kind of a little bit like 3 different villains from the games. And it's just like, what the fuck is this beast? And the only thing that felt truly, genuinely Uncharted in the whole fucking trailer was the scene at the end with the Scottish dude. And he's like, blah, 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 blah. And then Tom Holland's just like, what? Because he couldn't understand him, because that scene specifically, that's Uncharted. Everything else is just them shooting action scenes that look like the game. So I've ranted and raved. Let's move on.
Okay.
Oh God. All right, we are on. Oh, that's a swing and a miss. We landed on the same thing. That's a swing and a miss. We landed on that already.
We got tech and games, right?
All right, there we go. Earth. Technology. There's lots of shit going on in technology.
You do. You're a Mac fan.
Well, you got Pixel. Come on.
I don't have a Pixel. I'm Team Samsung.
Yeah, but it's it's part of your Android tribe.
Yeah, that is true. I was actually looking at the conversation between you and Burning there, and as he was saying, with their no more notes coming out, or at least not this year, we'll see if that becomes a if they don't revive it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Pixel 6 is probably the next best thing.
Okay.
I don't know. like I've actually been looking into the foldables at this point.
Ooh.
Because if I'm gonna, if I'm gonna
those
spend
are
that,
hot.
if I'm gonna spend that kind of money, I'm gonna have something fancy like a foldable.
So, which foldables catch your eye?
What's the one? There's the one that flips up, which I don't like that one. I like I want to say it's the Fold 3.
Okay.
That's
So
got
the
screens on the.
phone, the kind of iPad looking thing?
Yeah, that one.
Okay, not the. It's a smartphone, but it's also a clamshell transformer.
Right. Yeah. I
Okay.
don't need that noise.
Hmm. See, because for
I'm
me,
getting old. I need bigger screens.
fair enough. Because like for me, like with the I don't even know. Do we just call them flip phones? Like what? Just folding phones, I guess. Like I was trying to think of a term that just kind of bundles them all together, but they're all a little different. um, New age clamshell. I don't know.
I guess it'd still be a flip phone. Like it'd
Yeah,
be going back to a flip phone.
feel like the candy bar to clamshell are flip phones,
Mm-hmm.
and then the bigger ones are like flip
Tablets.
tablets,
Yeah.
flip tabs, I guess. Flip tabs? I don't know. These are all terrible names. Um but yeah, for like my money, like if I had to buy an Android phone or I was like reviewing tech stuff, I would totally rock the new Razer, or I think it's the Z Galaxy Flip or Galaxy.
But yeah, there's the Z Fold, which is
Yeah, the
the
Z Fold.
that's the
Yeah.
landscape to tablet, or the Z Flip, which is the. Did I lose you? Oh, okay, sorry. Which
No,
is
I'm here.
the clamshell to super
Okay, so
long smartphone.
the clamshell one. That one, and then the new era Motorola Razr.
Right. Yeah. So
Um
that's the Z Flip.
yeah, both of those catch my eye on a like that's just fucking cool kind of
Yeah.
level.
Yeah. I mean, the thing I like about the Flip is, yeah, you crunch that thing in half, your screen's protected, and it fits in an actual normal pocket.
Sure. Yeah, just don't get it near water.
Right.
At
Which
least
I
until
mean, I've
they
had
figure
phones
out a
long
way to
enough now
laminate
that
that.
I'm still getting used to being able to have my phone near water.
Oh,
Right. That's not something I do
fair
like, oh,
enough.
my phone goes over here, because that's what you do with electronics and water.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I guess.
My
I guess.
current PC is the first one I've ever had that had a liquid cooling component to it, because again,
Huh.
water and electronics, I go, nah, no, that doesn't work.
It's true. It's like it's against everything I've been taught.
Right.
Damn it! As Microsoft submerges fucking
Right.
servers in their fucking chemical bath. Oh gosh. Um. Yeah. So, I mean, is there other tech stuff particularly that you wanted to talk about?
Not in particular. I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for the definitive reviews on the M1s, because everyone that has them in their hand are still um, either under embargo over certain things.
Really? I've seen a ton of shit on YouTube.
There is a ton, but there's still a lot of embargo going on. Especially like I've been going with Verge for their general reviews, and then branching off from there. And a lot of them still can't.
CNET's got their review up.
Yeah, they're still okay. Maybe they're
I
starting to come
don't
out now.
I don't think The Verge has theirs, but Marquise Brownlee's has his up. Max Tex has his up. I'm waiting on a Mac specific one, Renee Ritchie, because he also dives into the silicon.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And not just the arbitrary no units of measurement scale that Apple provides.
I mean, but the thing is on this one, so let's just get into it. So a couple weeks ago, Apple announced the next generation of Apple MacBook Pros,
Mm-hmm.
and not
And
one but two configurations of professional grade processors. They are both still in the M1 family.
mm-hmm.
So my understanding on that is that it is not the type of high performance cores that is in the iPhone 13, based on new data that is available to me from
Right.
iFixit and teardowns and stuff, which is fine because the M1 was based on the A14 series, the A14Z series chip, which I believe powered the iPad Pro in 2019, I believe.
Okay.
And so it seems like the tech estimate of that is the way Apple's rollout is going to be is like the absolute latest, like cutting edge next type of nanometer stuff is going to be in iPhones, and then it'll be iPads, and then Mac is kind of what we're looking
That
at.
is really weird to hear from a company, right?
It is and it isn't if you consider that's just following sales numbers, right?
Sure.
So it's like iPhone's the most profitable thing, then iPad, then Mac. Like that's just, I mean, it makes sense. But I think the other thing too, and this is my thought on it, is Apple wants to work out any high performance kinks in the phone before they upscale it
Sure.
for desktop class.
Well, I mean,
or
and
professional
to
laptop
be honest,
class.
like again, like you said, the iPhone is the horse that pulls the cart,
Sure.
right? That is most
Absolutely.
people's that is most people's entry point into the Apple ecosystem.
Sure.
So yeah, it would make sense. You want your interface right. You want your, I guess, your app store,
Well,
your
and
monetization interface done right.
sure. And just for my own observation, like I said, iOS 15 was a little buggy.
Mm-hmm.
Got a little better with a patch. And then iOS 15.1, which is usually the big, huge bug fix. And it was definitely a very fucking chunky bugs fix
Oh
this
yeah,
year. Um,
I
we
downloaded
got,
it the other day.
yeah, we got that last week, which is good because it's been great on my phone. I don't have any of the problems that were occurring to me before. Um, and it's interesting because on the same day, the new Mac OS came out. And historically, Mac OS is always the one that's, it's usually like super, super polished, but then there's always some compatibility stuff, which, I mean, let's be honest, it's probably the same for, like what Windows 11 users have dealt with recently,
Sure.
when you have a huge OS update. And it was interesting because, I'm on M1 now, but my business computers are not. And so I was like, oh man, I hope this doesn't like break my printer or any of this stuff. But so far, macOS Monterey is solid. Aces, no. The only problem I've found so far after using it and iOS 15 for a week seems to be one, and it must be part of the shared code base. I have this one specific problem, and it's using my photos library on facial recognition.
Interesting.
And it just fucking fucks up on the
Okay.
facial recognition, which is crazy to me because we've had facial recognition since the PowerPC days, and it's actually been like really good on just the photos. Like, oh, this, I want this group of photos, my wife and this group, that sort of thing.
Right.
And not only is it fucking up on recognizing, which is uncharacteristic because it's a feature we've had for a really long time, and like I use it just for my own personal photo organization shit.
Mm-hmm.
But not only is it fucking up and recognizing stuff, but it's starting to like unrecognize things, and I'm getting like pictures of Mr. T next to my wife, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
Do you think this has anything to do with the controversy over the cloud scan?
No, because this is all local device stuff. So I think either they've changed their algorithm.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. Like, if for whatever reason the code base or the algorithm that was doing the same thing local was the culprit for doing it on these cloud scans, and when you change one, you change the other?
I couldn't tell you. All I could tell you is that I've had a hell of a time. Um, yeah, and it's really weird. And like, I'll go in and I'll like manually change it back to the way it was, and then the next day, like, it will have undone it, and I'm just like, the fuck.
Hmm.
So you know,
Trying hard to put that genie back in the bottle, huh?
I mean, I guess I don't know. I looked on a couple of like deep Apple forums. Some people suggested like a rebuild of the photo library, which I did, but it didn't seem to make a damn bit of difference.
Hmm.
So I don't know.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, it is. It is, especially because it's a feature that I've, has been solid for like a decade now.
Right.
And it's just like, you broke it, guys.
Yeah, it'd be like Siri suddenly not understanding you after working for the last 12 years.
Yeah, it's like that scene in Toy Story where Buzz gets switched to Spanish.
Fair. Yeah.
Still works. Can't understand what it's fucking doing though.
Right.
Oh God.
But yeah, so the new M1s and their horrible naming
so
structure that doesn't tell you what you're getting.
drives me crazy.
Mhm.
Drives me crazy too. So we have the M1, we have the M1 Pro, and then we have the M1 Max. And then to not be clear, the Pro is lesser than the Max.
Right.
Which is further confusing if you're an iPhone user of any length of time.
Where you have
because
the 13, the 13 Pro, and the 13 Pro Max.
Yeah. So why in the actual fuck would you not have M1, M1 Pro, and M1 Pro Max?
Right.
What the fuck?
Right. Unless they're
anyway,
planning on releasing one, and then that's going to be even more confusing for everyone.
Oh God.
And
don't tempt them.
Right. And I guess the difference between these processors isn't the amount of cores, but the types of cores that are in them, if I've read that correctly.
It's all of the above.
All of the above? Okay.
Yeah. So there's 6 variants of these on top of that. I'm not gonna get into that, but the actually I'm just gonna fucking pull it up so I'm not fucking saying this wrong because it's a lot, even for Apple. Let's see here. New MacBook Pro. Okay, I have them here. So, starting at the bottom now, with what we're recording the show on, we have the Apple M1 chip, which has a 8-core CPU, 4 high performance, 4 efficiency cores, and a 7 to 8 core GPU, depending on the model that you get, with up to 16 gigabytes of unified memory.
And this is all built on die, so you're looking at what a 15 to 16 core total processor, divvied up.
Yes.
4, 7 or 8 GPU.
Yes.
Okay.
Then we move on to the Apple M1 Pro, and that can have up to a 10-core CPU, and I believe it's an 8-core high efficiency, and then the others are
2 performance, 8 high efficiency.
Yes. And then here's the crazy part,
which seems lesser than the original M1, which has 4 performance, 4 efficiency.
True, but on the actual chip die on breakdown, people think that that's not going to matter because a lot of that stuff is handled by the neural engine, and the neural engine on this particular model is like 4 fucking times the size on the die. So people think that that's going to be making up for a lot of that, at least in chip theory. But then here's the kicker. It can have up to a 32-core GPU, which is That is a lot of. That's a lot.
That's a lot of teraflops.
Yeah. In fact, in terms of teraflop performance, so going back to your thing about their graphs that don't go anywhere, Apple
Mm-hmm.
actually did something crazy this year. In the lower left hand or right hand corner in both the video and on their website, they show what they fucking compared it to. The Pro series was compared to an MSI gaming laptop, and then the Apple M1 Max chip with the maxed out GPU was compared to a fucking 3080 RTX, which is
Okay.
insane because
How did it fare against it?
so that gets a little tricky because testing is all over the place because people are just getting these machines. In terms of what it's rated at teraflop performance, in terms for the GPU, it's coming in at about 10.58 teraflops, which puts it right around the PlayStation 5's GPU,
Right.
which is nothing to scoff at all.
Right. Especially for a laptop.
Yeah, because this is the second desktop chip from Apple for a GPU. And they note that the chip can do ray tracing.
Mm-hmm.
The fuck? Okay.
Well, that's just code. That's just code.
I mean, maybe I don't know. It's pretty wild. So people like Geekbench scores and stuff like that, and like Max Tech on YouTube have determined that the unified memory, which can be up to 64 gigs on these new chips, because it doesn't have the overhead of a dedicated GPU would, where you have dedicated video RAM on your desktop computer, they're estimating that it's gonna come in a little bit higher than a 3080 RTX for workloads for like Maya and stuff like that.
Right. Enterprise stuff.
Yeah, just because of both the efficiency and then also just because these are just different chips handling all of this data in a more.
It'd be like trying to do a benchmark. You're doing a gaming benchmark with a 3080 and a Quadro card, right? And then vice versa. You do a Maya render with a Quadro card versus a 3080. They're purpose built for two different things.
Yeah, it's very interesting. But the pretty much the ultimate consensus is that these chips are the fastest possible chips of any laptop on the planet by a country mile. If for no other reason than they're just power efficient. And then that's a really big thing to point out. Everybody's been pointing this out because they were doing these tests unplugged, which is a pretty big deal, especially for pros who are running around with laptops and shooting videos and stuff like that. I think they showed on DaVinci Resolve and what's the Adobe video editor? Lightroom?
Yeah, I want to say that's it.
Adobe Lightroom. And then of course Apple's own Final Cut Pro. Like they were,
or Adobe Premiere, maybe that's it.
Maybe that actually sounds more accurate.
Yeah.
Maybe Lightroom's the one for like I don't fucking know.
That doesn't matter at this point.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, they were showing stuff in terms of like it cutting like 10 minutes off of a render time.
Yeah.
For like huge complex 4 and
On
8K
battery
files and shit.
Yeah.
It's insane. And something that is kind of glossed over, but I'll say it for the video people out there. The Pro and the Max chips have basically the tech that was in the old Intel Mac Pro the Afterburner card that was purpose built for video encoding and decoding. They've got like 2 to 4 whole chips of those in these new M1 chips for you video guys out there. So like
Yay.
it's like I talked to my buddy Jay, who of course has already purchased one. But he's also looking at it showing up at the beginning of next year.
Right.
Which is not surprising either. But he's just like, yeah, I don't need it, but I want it. Because he's like, that is time is money, you know?
So what's the, I don't think we covered it, but what's the difference between the Pro and the Max at this point?
So the difference between the Pro and the Max has to do with the type of cores and stuff you have in it. So like the Max will have 4 of those video
performance cores.
the video encode chips in it, whereas the Pro has 2. And then the only the Max can have the biggest GPU. With the, I believe the Pro can also have the 10 CPU, but only the Max can have the 10 CPU and the 32 GPU, if I'm not mistaken. And then something that they are finding out, which isn't advertised on Apple, but the YouTubers of tech are breaking it down, is that the size of SSD you get, each incremental step on what it's configurable at is like 2x faster than the previous one. So if you get like the 512 one, it's comparable to the current M1 chip, but if you get like the terabyte, it's twice as fast. And then if you go all the way up to the 8 terabyte option, which is, I mean, let's be honest, that's an ungodly amount of SSD.
Yeah,
that's of NVMe quality. They were like, yeah, the 8 terabyte fucking smokes everything else. Like they were like, it's the fastest fucking thing we've ever seen. So yeah, it's weird because it's more.
I don't know that I trust that much data on something that could fail because of a single chip.
Well, it's funny. So in talking to my videographer buddy Jay, he went with the 4 terabyte option because he was like, yeah, he's like, it's actually gonna be nice to not have to lug around RAID array, and I could just throw it on the SSD and get it done, and then dump it when I get home. Like he's like, that's gonna be really nice.
Sure.
And I was like, okay, yeah, I see that. So yeah, so we've got new laptops. Very interestingly, if you go completely with first of all, they're in 14 and 16-inch configurations. They've all got ProMotion displays, so variable refresh rate up to 120 hertz.
Also, bad naming, because try looking up anything Apple ProMotion, and actually getting something meaningful.
I'm pretty sure I was the one who bitched about that like several episodes ago, just trying to look up what it was called for my phone. Very weirdly, this MacBook Pro has a notch on the camera, but it doesn't have Face ID.
Right.
Nobody knows why.
There's a few things that are quirky about, one, they brought in a notch. 2, they brought back all the ports they made you replace equipment for.
Yeah. Isn't that wild?
But they brought back ports that all look the same, but do completely different things also at the same time.
Yeah, isn't that weird? They did bring back MagSafe.
Right.
Which an industrial engineer friend of mine says is the single greatest invention by man. Which is over the top, but it is a really great thing. So they brought back MagSafe for charging, but will also allow charging through the USB-C ports, any of them, which is kind of nifty.
The speed varies depending on whatever type of power supply you happen to have or purchase.
Yes, that's the other thing. Only the 16-inch can quick charge. The 14-inch cannot quick charge.
Right.
Nor can you purchase the power adapter that is a bigger power adapter for the 16-inch and plug it into the 14-inch.
Even though
It's
the plug
backwards
fits.
compatible, but
Right.
it does not support quick charging.
Right.
And today I saw a teardown, and there's some tech reasons as to why.
Oh, no, I get that there's reasons why.
Yeah,
But none of them are clear, and all the plugs look the same.
true.
Right. That's where I, like, as a non-Mac enthusiast, I would look at that and go, why? One, I probably wouldn't care that it's not fast charging, because not a big deal to me. I would,
Sure.
you know, if it was that important, I would be looking for it.
Well-
but it's like all these ports look like USB-Cs.
Well, and here's the thing, though. The battery life on these things is absolutely insane. The
Mhm.
14-inch is clocking in at around 17 hours of battery life. Obviously, asterisk under normal use. And the
Right.
16-inch is coming in at 21 hours of battery life. Like,
Yeah, and the few
what the
reviews that
fuck?
I've read on that, they're talking full video encodes, 4 hour
Yeah.
4 hour battery life, and then 8 hour battery life, depending on the unit you have.
Yeah.
And that's full video encodes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and not like small things. Like, we're talking crazy. Like, these
No,
things
some
are
of the reviewers
indeed-
actually had to find larger files to render.
Yeah, just to test it. So I watched one where they were doing the full encode thing, and the 14-inch, it got up to 106 degrees, and its fans kicked on at like 4,000 RPM, whereas the 16-inch did the same thing, and the fans didn't kick on until it was like 120 degrees.
Okay.
And they were like, that's very interesting. But also in the teardowns, like the 16-inch has like way bigger fans, way bigger heat pipe, way bigger everything, basically.
Right.
Like, it's like, even though they're very thin laptops, there's a substantial difference in the design internals of the 16-inch over the 14, despite the fact, which is the strange thing here, because there's so many fucking configuration options, which is why we've been talking about it so long, because it's so weird for Apple. You can have the Max chip in either the 16 or the 14. What? Like, I don't. It's
Sure,
so,
why not?
It's so bizarre.
And you can have a headphone port again.
Yeah, that's true. You can have a headphone. Although they never got rid of that, by the way, for the laptops.
Right.
Only on the phones and the iPads.
Only on the phones.
Yeah, so
You know, but you know what you can't have anymore?
what?
Touch bar. No more touch bar.
So that's an interesting one, because some people hate it. So, like, talking to my videographer buddy, he hates it.
Sure.
I don't have one because I don't have a laptop. But my wife has the Intel version of the MacBook Pro, and I've used it to edit some of the episodes of the show, actually, especially when I was in between Mac systems for a while there earlier this summer. And the touch bar is super fucking useful for linear editing. So yeah, I don't know. It's
And I think this is one of the things that, in being, you know, a Samsung wonk that I have been for so many times for so many years.
I kind
have
of
to
want
develop-
that on a t-shirt. Nate Fu.
Right, Samsung wonk. Yeah. Right. Like, they've had all these nifty things like the edge panels and all these productivity tools that they're building into the phone.
Yep.
And then no one develops for them. And I think that was kind of the death knell of the touch bar as well. It's like, here it is. It's a great thing. Someone developed something for it, and everyone went, nah.
Yeah,
You can use it to mute your speakers.
It is an oddity because, I mean, obviously people ported Doom to it, but, you know, that's just, there's a screen. People are going to port Doom and Wolfenstein to it.
Right.
So, yeah, it's interesting. But what might be the most shocking thing is if you get the absolute biggest, baddest model of 16-inch with all the bells and whistles, in comparison to the prior MacBook Pro of 16-inch Intel version, it's $500 less.
Nice.
And it's just so much more bang for your buck. Like, it's crazy if you're comparing it to the old Intel Mac. So it's very interesting that we're seeing with every M1 thing, if you get the maxed out one, by the time you get all the things checked off in checkout, it's cheaper than the prior models. And then, of course,
It
conspiracy.
makes me wonder if that's just literally supply chain economics.
Yeah, it could be. Like there's been some conspiracy theorists that are like, well, they're doing this for now until everybody's transitioned to M1, and then they'll jack up the price again because it is Apple, and inevitably
because it is Apple.
and inevitably you will pay the Apple tax at some point.
Right.
Or the counterpoint to that is it's cheaper because A, the supply is going to be bad for a long time, or B, they're trying to do a pro-consumer thing there by pointing out, A, not only is it better, but we can do it cheaper too.
Right. And we're not paying the Intel tax anymore.
Right. So, yeah. I don't know. It's cool stuff. It definitely makes that rumor going back to the fact that Apple's maybe developing a game console or a game hybrid. Because, nobody thought that this Max was going to have this crazy fucking GPU that is on paper and starting to show on Geekbenches comparable to a fucking 3080 RTX. Like,
it's nice to see that
that's crazy. Like
we're getting more options, that are viable for gaming in a portable space that's not phone gaming.
Yeah, it's interesting. We've talked a lot about how advanced, Apple's chips are, and they're obviously the best fucking ARM silicone in the business. By a mile, and a country one at that. But they're weird black boxes of GPUs, and somehow, in 1 year they've caught up to NVIDIA. What?
Sure.
That's crazy. Like, even in my wildest speculation, it's like, oh, that'd be cool. They'll get there in a couple generations, just based on, fucking Moore's law of how they double it. And here they come out fucking, it's like
swinging.
10 or 12x the fucking performance of the M1 that's sitting to my left. What? They're like, you can almost like, and it's interesting because, like, I watch the press conferences because I'm an Apple nerd, but like when they were talking about it, there was almost like a hint of like, sup, fuck you all.
Right.
Look at our shit. Look at this big fucking dick. Like,
but is this, what is this a one-shot wonder? It's like, this is what we have. This is the best. Like, we've already we capped out this tech, and now we have to completely rejig to do anything more, or is there still headroom built into this platform?
So that's the question. So, and this will tie into something that I'm going to bring up in a second here. So these chips are built on a philosophy of ARM design called Little Big, with the efficiency cores and then the high efficiency cores. So you have smaller cores, and they're clocked lower, and they're handling different tasks than the high efficiency cores. And that silicone model allows it to basically, they can just keep tacking on fucking more cores and GPUs. And because the OS is so used to handling this, in comparison to something like Windows ARM, like, it doesn't like scoff at it. It uses that to its advantage, and it just scales up,
So at some point it just becomes a game of physical room and thermal headroom.
Sure. And it's like, yes, for an ARM chip, Apple stuff runs hotter than everybody else's. They're also doing more than everybody else's. But, I saw the teardown of the MacBook Pro 16-inch today, and it's got the biggest fucking 2-fan system of any MacBook laptop before it. Like, they're fucking huge. And something that's a little hard to see in, pictures of these laptops between the 14 and the 16, there's like a whole, I think they said it was a whole 1/8 extra like thicker or deeper to accommodate
Right.
the fans and all this stuff, which is fine because obviously you want fans in a laptop to cool your fucking processor, because everybody
Right.
knows when they overheat, you get diminishing returns, and that's
Or you get charred thighs.
well, we can go back to what is it, 2015 was the Intel MacBooks that could cook an egg. Something like that.
Yeah, I have plenty of friends with the old Intel MacBooks that were just, if you didn't have the cooling pad, you never put the thing on your lap.
Yeah. So I think to answer your question, there are rumors floating out right now that they will have like 150 core version for like a full big desktop Mac Pro.
Sure.
And those
I wonder if they're ever going to reapproach the enterprise rack space with this methodology. Because if you can
hard
just
to
keep
say.
tacking on cores, this is a boon for, say a render farm.
Sure.
Not necessarily,
well,
doing management.
And so in
but
Apple's
like doing render farms and whatnot.
And so in Apple's presentation with the M1 Max, they pointed out that in a laptop, they could load the entire CGI graphics file and render it and move it in real time of the J.J. Abrams version Starship Enterprise.
Okay.
And it didn't fucking choke. And the VFX artists who were talking it up in the Apple presentation were like, yeah, you can't do that on a laptop. Like, you need a professional workstation hooked into a power supply.
Right. And not just I picked up a desktop from off the box.
We have purpose built stuff for fucking Maya and whatever all the CGI different registers are and stuff. And they were just like, yeah, no, we can do this now on a laptop.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that's fucking crazy. So yeah, I think you probably will get 150 core crazy, desktop tower version of this. But then that begs the question, because this is technically on, an older chip design. And inevitably there will be an M2, and it's just like, are we getting to the point now where it's like the next generation is potentially going to be like 2x as powerful as that on like a basic bitch model? Like, what? I don't even know what to do with that much power.
Right.
Like, what? Like, that's insane. So if they want to start throwing that shit in like a fucking game console, that's like a couple.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, the only other way you could go is to actually start ramping up clock speeds again.
Sure, because then, with heat and thermal, and then you go a fan.
Mm-hmm.
I've already been hearing rumors that Apple is investing heavily in the R&D division for how to solve the thermals of future iPhones, because obviously it's a thing that everybody's going to hit.
Sure.
And really, strangely, the only people who did any work in that realm was Microsoft with the fucking the vapor chambers.
Right.
TM. Using what was that metal that they trademarked?
I don't remember.
Something vapor metal. I don't fucking remember.
Right.
So whether they put the trucks on the skateboard and
Bill Gatesium. I don't know.
Bill Gates. Oh god! Right next to unobtainium, right? It's terrible. All right. Well, that's it. Oh well. Going back to the last thing, that's not Apple related, except for the fact that I brought up the little big architecture.
Mm-hmm.
So, Intel unveiled its final Alder Lake chip design, surprising everyone, because Intel is using the little big philosophy in an Intel
surprising
chip.
Everyone or surprising no one?
Well, surprising everyone because people thought that they'd be too stubborn. So
no,
it's
not Intel.
it's the biggest.
They may be late to the game,
It's
but
the biggest example of if you can't beat them, at least kind of attempt to join them.
right.
But people were actually saying pretty good things about the benchmarks for this new
Sure.
Intel, particularly because the thermal threshold and its overall power consumption, very strangely for an Intel chip, has gone down by like 40 watts.
Nice.
So kudos to however the fuck they pulled that off. Perhaps it was this little big philosophy, and that's only in a lower power state, but who knows?
Sure.
So yeah, so that's the new stuff on the current technology meta.
Oh, why'd you have to go there?
I don't know, Nate. Why don't you talk about it?
No, I don't want to talk about it. Yeah, Facebook rebrands, or Facebook, the company, is rebranding, much like Google did with the Alphabet company.
Yep.
And they have reformed everything under the name Meta, which had been hinted about and speculated at by most people. You know, the Vegas bettors, Meta was leading the polls because of Oculus, surprisingly enough, and
Sure.
Facebook's involvement in that kept bringing up the term metaverse. So, yeah, so everything's going to be rebranded under that. I'm still not sure if they're going to rename the Facebook app to the Meta app.
So,
right, the individual applications might still retain their own names and then operate under the umbrella, but I think the leading theory is Facebook will no longer be used in any sort of branding.
so it's not a theory. So I got in an argument with my wife about this, and then was proven wrong with a Variety article with quotes from the on high Zuckerberg himself, who stated that Meta will replace Facebook Inc. and the Facebook, Instagram, whatever else, all that other shit that they own, Oculus, will remain. So it very much is the thing like the Google Alphabet stuff.
Okay. Because they had been showing off renders of the Oculus being the Oculus by Meta.
Yes.
So
I think. Yeah.
Yes.
So I don't know.
So that, I guess, yeah. Who cares? I mean, rename it whatever you want. Like,
I mean, it's true.
The only thorn in my side was, and we had a good chuckle at it in the Discord, and we had a good chuckle in it in my clan Discord. My Destiny 2 clan that I'm in has been, for the last 4 years, been known as the current meta.
Right.
And our founder, Danfinity, uses a infinity symbol, or a stylized infinity symbol for his own personal branding. So it was very, very unfortunate that, one, Facebook renamed to Meta, and two, used a stylized infinity symbol.
I mean, as a whole, stylized infinity symbols, let's be honest, lots of people use them.
Sure.
My problem with their particular stylized infinity symbol...
It looks like a saggy bra?
No, I was going to say that. I was going to say it looks like the old fucking Mixer logo.
That too.
Which now I can't get out of my head. Like, it looks like a little fucking controller. It looks like the Xbox logo, but then they just kind of extended it out. Yep. What a world. What a horrible world we live in. So stupid. There's been a lot of good memes about it, though.
Yes.
I will say that. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess you can expect a cease and desist from Zuckerberg's lawyers on your clan name.
Well, I don't know. We've had claims. We've had stake claim to that thing for over 4 years. We have records and receipts for that as well.
I mean, but let's be honest. If they ever did actually like do that,
we'll take the payout,
and you wanted to fight for it, like Facebook's got deep pockets. Like
Yeah,
they would
and that's fine. I'll take some money out of those deep pockets,
they would
and we will happily rebrand with a good settlement.
yeah, fair enough.
So
One
would not be the first time an organization that I'm involved in had run up against intellectual property rules. So
fair enough. One other note, I finally got to try out my night mode in my camera on my phone last night.
yes,
Yeah. How do you like that photo I posted in the Discord there?
the from the queue line.
Yeah, the queue line. This is at the morgue.
What time of day was that photo taken?
10:45 p.m.
Okay.
So super dark. In fact, that, seeing as I was there, is brighter than it actually was to my eyes.
Yeah, it'd be like taking a normal camera and doing a slow pop on it.
Yeah, I was fucking shocked.
What's impressive about that is how not blurry things that are obviously moving are.
Sure, and
Because that has been
obviously,
one of like I can do
yeah.
slow pops on my phone and bring light that seems non-existent into the room, but if anything moves, it's unrecognizable.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty wild. I did not expect, and I've like zoomed in on it and stuff, and you can clearly make out. So I'm looking north. I'm down in like the warehouse district, and we're looking north at Seattle here,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like you can zoom in and you can see the whole fucking skyline. I'm just like, the fuck,
Yeah,
that's
like I can
stupid,
even in this little small picture here in the Discord, I can see stars.
right? That's crazy.
Which to do that on a night with the ambient light and still be able to pull stars out of a Seattle sky, which is, Seattle.
Well, and the crazy thing is the blue part there, that the blue part on the left, like that was
Mhm.
strobing.
Sure.
So it's
Okay.
like, yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. The night stuff is pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
I'm pretty enamored with it, which is cool because it's something I've always wanted to do, is take photos at night and then like I've always wanted at least just like how I, like if I could snap a picture with like blinking my eyeballs, at
Mhm.
nighttime. Like I've always, I don't know. Personal tech wish list item achieved. All right, well let's wrap up this bitch with some video games.
Video games?
Some video games. I could
Well,
probably bet $10. I bet I know what you've been playing.
what have I been playing, sir?
Probably Destiny 2.
Probably nothing this week.
Oh, nothing at all. Okay. Well,
Nothing at all.
all right.
I got it all out of my system, and yeah, again, per the opening of the podcast, with the end of month schedule, I haven't, like, by the time I get home, I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't played during the day. I wake up, spend time with the kids, and then go to work.
Mm.
But I am already pre-installed for the new Forza Horizon 5.
Oh, me too.
Right?
I'm looking real forward to it. I've already seen the Digital Foundry thing on it, where they declared it the best looking video game of all time.
That's as soon as I saw that, I'm like, I already like Forza, and Forza Horizon is good, dumb, non-simulator fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go ahead and pre-install that one.
Yep.
And then I just installed Age of Empires 4 as well.
Probably won't be checking that one out since they lost me at Age of Empires 2. But that was probably just young Tim not being able to fucking figure out the game in comparison to
Right.
StarCraft.
Right.
I'll try it again when I have lots of time on my hands.
And that's it. Like, I've always been a fan of the style of game, and I think Age of Empires and StarCraft were the two of the lot that I've been able to play over the years.
Sure.
The two easiest to understand the skill trees. So, yeah, I've always been an Age of Empires fan, and this the new one looks beautiful.
Now I was trying to remember. I used to know this data, but because the Age of Empires guys, like they disbanded or Microsoft killed them, right? And so who was this one made by?
Man, I want to say it's the same studio, but
The same
I
studio
would
that disbanded?
members of. Let me
Because Age of
caught me
Empires
off guard on that one.
Age of Empires was made by the only reason I know this is because of Halo. So Age of Empires was made by Ensemble in
Right.
Texas. And they made the first Halo Wars, but then they disbanded them really strangely after Halo Wars. And then Halo Wars 2 was made by Creative Affinity, Certain Affinity, something Affinity.
Right. So Age of Empires, yes, Ensemble. 2 was developed by Ensemble.
Mm-hmm. So who made the new one?
Let's see. 3 also developed by Ensemble. Let's see if 4 is the same.
Well, Ensemble doesn't exist anymore, so I'd be real surprised if it is.
Relic and World's Edge.
Ooh, it's done by fucking Relic?
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. We've been over this, but I love Homeworld, and Relic is my boys. So, also, a side note, Relic, when the fuck is the mobile Homeworld game coming out? I've been signed up for the beta for 2 fucking years. And then this summer you had like a long ass like, oh, it's in closed access. And I'm like, I know. I just want to fucking play it. Because it would be fucking perfect for a touchscreen. Come on, Relic. Maybe they were too busy working on this for the payout, so they could fund that. I don't know. But okay,
and then the other studio is World's Edge, and let's see.
I don't know them off the top of my head, but as soon as you said Relic, like I'm immediately
right
1,000% more invested in ultimately trying Age of Empires 4. Is it just because Relic is so fucking good at doing RTSs? Like they're so good. And if you think that they're not, you're wrong.
So World's Edge did the definitive editions. They worked with, I guess it was partnerships of Forgotten Empires and Tantalus Media, and they remastered the second and third.
Heard of Tantalus? I think they're a conglomerate, right?
I believe so now. Yeah.
Okay. So they worked on the remasters, so they got thrown a bone on this one then for doing the bitch work, and then like, here's the bone of taking a look at the new one. It happens. It's a common theme we're seeing in the game industry where you work on the remaster and then you get a chance on the big one.
Right.
I think that just happened this week because long-standing and honestly probably one of my favorite studios at Activision Blizzard, Vicarious Visions, who did everything from Tony Hawk to Spider-Man, is officially no more.
No more as in they're free from Blizzard, or no more as in they folded?
And no more as in they are being absorbed completely by Blizzard proper.
Okay.
And will be working on Diablo 4. They just handled the port for Diablo 2 Resurrected.
Right.
Which, by all accounts, was actually a really good remaster, unlike Warcraft 3.
They're also responsible for the PC port of Destiny.
That is correct.
Destiny 2.
Yep.
So.
They're also responsible for I want to say they're responsible for what was that planet on Destiny 2? It's not there anymore now.
Oh,
not the
Nessus?
Not the Nessus, because we still have Nessus, right? Don't we?
You know what?
I don't know.
Maybe
the yellowy one that had Asher Mir. Io, yeah. My understanding is that they were responsible for Io.
Okay.
Which I personally loved because it was all Vexy and had the best Venus vibes. Was it Venus in Destiny 1?
Yes.
Yeah. Jesus. Forgetting these things.
Yeah, I was just looking at a presser for VV being merged.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
So
that's a shame.
so they're not dead, but their name's dead.
Right.
Somewhat up in the air as if they will be rebranded as like a Blizzard like New York
Right, like Blizzard
or
right.
whatever.
Blizzard East. Yeah.
Yeah, but they're officially moving more into that team, I guess. Which is fine. They're already owned by Activision Blizzard. Obviously, that's their call.
Right.
It's just a little bit sad because, they have such a varied catalog,
Mm-hmm.
so they're good at a lot of different things, which is not something you can say about every game studio. Let's see. So going to what I've been playing, might as well rip this band-aid off so you can prod me with a cattle prod. So I've been playing Destiny 2 on Tuesdays with the boys because apparently everybody's back playing Destiny 2 for some reason.
Have you been playing the seasonal stuff or just playing general stuff?
I'm not gonna give Bungie a fucking dime.
Okay, so you're on the free to play, whatever came with the Xbox.
Everything came with the Xbox, so I just finished the campaign for Beyond Light.
Okay.
It's still just as shit as I remember it being. Literally, I can't express, like, I've been jokingly referring to it when I'm playing with my boys. It's like, oh cool, let's go play PTS Destiny, PTSD Destiny, whatever. Because it just feels like, I mean, it's fucking Destiny. I don't know what else to say. Like,
you gotta like the kind of game, I guess. Like you've gotta like the franchise.
I mean, I do. Obviously, all this shit started as a Destiny podcast, and I obviously.
Well, did it, or was that more of influence from other hosts at the time?
It's a yes and no thing. Like, so the fork in your ear thing was actually something I started way back, way. I don't even remember how far back, but guy in our Discord. I'm scrolling through right now. What's his name? Don't see his name in the Discord right now, but it also could be renamed to something that I don't know what it is. But anyway, the guy named Frank, did a lot of podcasts with him. He was an old co-host of mine from way back in the Wizards Rule days. We actually came up with the fork in your ear idea, or at the very least the name, together, and we actually did a couple of pilot episodes, but it didn't feel right to us at the time, and so we kind of parted ways then.
Right.
No hard feelings, as I recall. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I don't remember.
At least not on your end.
I don't remember. I don't remember. My brain was in a blender. Yeah, so we came up with a name and we did some different concepts, which was not what this show is now. Like, I don't think we had the categories. I don't think we had the format. Definitely didn't have spin in the ring, none of that stuff. And then I did the Destiny show, which is where Mike came on, and then that died, and then it came back as Phoenix as the Fork in Your Ear podcast.
Right.
So, people who criticize me for being super critical on Destiny, I've spent thousands
it's not
and
unfounded,
thousands of hours playing Destiny 1 and Destiny 2. So don't listen here, Sonny.
Well, you haven't played it enough, or you haven't been playing since the old days. Yes, you have.
I have, bitch,
and a lot. And it's and I've always 100% respected your takes on it. Is it's not my kind of game.
Well, sure, and I hate the almost worse than free to play phone game gotcha shit in Destiny right now. I like some of the changes that I have now observed. Like, it seems like the transmog thing is pretty good.
Yes.
I don't really like how it's limited to a certain amount of items per season. Is that correct? I don't know.
Yes.
That's fucking weird.
But you then have to go out and grind to earn, which I'm not a
Yeah.
fan of that either.
I, I don't know. I mean, I'm never gonna touch PvP again, unless it's like customs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm. They were trying to get me to play Gambit with them, and I was like, I just started playing again. Like, I don't feel like getting murked by the other team.
Right.
You know,
Or murked by the ads and whatnot in the game, and then having
yeah,
to deal with the small PvP element when you have an invader. Like Gambit just isn't enjoyable for me. I've played it enough to grind out the whatever
sure,
achievement I needed for this year or this season's title, and then it's like
sure.
as soon as I'm done with what I need to do for whatever the weekly pinnacle is or whatever, I'm out. I'm done with it. Same thing with PvP. I do appreciate the narrative changes, um, the story beats that the current seasons have done are really on point. More
Okay,
so
okay.
than back in the original Destiny days when everything was hidden behind grimoire cards.
Yeah, I mean, I've experienced that stuff because you can play like the first little bit of the season stuff, and then
Hmm.
like Mithrax and what's his name, the time traveling warlock guy, Osiris.
Hmm.
You know, and then they're like actually like talking to each other and shit and stuff, and I'm
Hmm.
like that's cool. I wish this had always been in Destiny.
Right.
But then at the same time, like I've been away from Destiny for like a whole year now at this point, and I'm
Yeah.
like,
It's hard to jump back. It'd be
I
hard to jump back into
yeah,
Dune on the 75th page,
sure,
right?
yeah, like, and it's just like I was like, Mithrix, cool, baby, fucking,
Smallin everywhere. Yeah.
uh, uh, Fallen, yeah, Smallin. Oh, I just got that reference. There we go. Okay, that's cute.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, like that's cool, you know, like, and I appreciate that that's there. I just personally don't care. And also, I was super fucking thrown off that Ikora's got a new voice actress. Like, when did that happen? What the
This
fuck?
last season.
Okay. Um,
So yeah, basically at the same time we got the voice actor for or voice actress, I guess still voice actor, right? For Savathun as well. It was also really
oh,
good.
yeah, I remember her being announced with the. I vaguely know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. Yeah. So yeah. So I've been playing it. Um. You know, I mean, I enjoy spending time with the boys. I'm not particularly having fun.
Well, and if they're dragging you into PvP and
No,
PvP
no,
and
no. I
Gambit
mean,
all the time,
I'm not doing Gambit and I'm not doing PvP,
yeah,
but like I'm just doing story stuff and like just in that Be Online thing. I can't. It's just all right. Do a mission, go back, commune with the thing. Do a mission,
hmm,
go back, commune with the thing. Do a mission, go back, commune with the thing. I was like, fucking seriously, why is there not a fast travel? Commune with the fucking thing.
right, yeah, and that's
Like,
I'm not a big fan of the fetch questy type stuff.
oh yeah, fuck all that. I don't need
Especially if
that.
it's when I can do two things at fly to the tower, speak to Zavala, fly to the helm, speak to Mara, and then fly back to the tower and speak to Zavala again. Y'all speaking to me on radios all the time,
Facts.
right? Did I really need to load into and out of this instance twice to go see Zavala when you could have said the same thing? You could have told me both things, or just
Yeah,
piped in on a radio,
yeah. The only thing I can say about loading into a bunch of instances a bunch of times to do that stuff is, thank God I'm playing it on the Series X
right?
because that shit is damn near instant.
Hmm. Same thing with PC. There,
Still shitty. You have to go through all of the fucking transitions to do that stuff just to pick up the next fucking part of the quest from fucking
oh,
Zavala.
you know how many
But
times, and this is, and here I am, call me a wonk again, all you want, but these are the few times where that is when I will log into Stadia. Oh, you need me to go through and do these fetch
you're not
quests,
wrong.
right? You want to talk about popping in and out of an instantly? Like,
Yeah, I bet
Stadia, here
that's
we
something.
come, and I'll even throw it on my computer browser. Like I'm on my computer with my controller because I know I'm just going to be able to pop through these things.
Um, yeah,
So yeah,
Destiny 2.
Destiny 2 and its samey sameness.
Yeah, it's interesting and also kind of shitty that Bungie is doing their anniversary thing a day before Halo Infinite. I was like, like I've been very careful to tell all my boys. I was like, all right, let's get our games in now because you ain't gonna be seeing me on Tuesday
Right.
come December, um, because I have a higher calling.
Yeah, and I don't know other than the cosmetic tie-ins. I don't
Mhm.
know how much of the 30th anniversary is going to be, what there's going to be outside of that, other than the one dungeon in the loot cave. Um,
Sure.
and if they time gate that or put it, where you have to be like 1360 to even join, I'm gonna be very upset.
Yeah, I mean, I'm struggling just to get up to level, so I don't need any of that if I'm hypothetically still playing after
Right.
Infinite launches. So, yeah, we'll
Big
see.
problem I have with a lot of this, a lot of the stuff like, oh hey, you pay extra for, especially with the next season, coming out. It's like you're paying extra to get the dungeons because you have to get the deluxe edition to have access to the 2 new dungeons that are coming.
Yeah, that is some bullshit. No
It's some
fucking.
well, it's some bullshit, and it's some bullshit because again, it feels a lot like you get gated even when you do have access to them.
Yeah, and
It's one thing like the Grandmasters and whatnot, Grandmaster Nightfalls, or Legendary Lost Sectors, shit like that. Like, okay, there's a certain point where I go, okay, that I'm eventually going to level up and do that. But when your dungeons drop and require you to be past endgame light level, it's like, no, you can put those at the, um, I guess you would say the soft cap, which in this case would be 1320.
Mm. Do you think this cycle of habitual abuse with the players and the market and Destiny will change in the next Jumbo expansion?
I don't know, Tim, the Apple user.
Okay. Well, what does me having being an Apple user have to do with anything? I'm so thrown off by that comment.
Once you get put into the ecosystem, even though there's other things that are better out there,
Mhm.
you're now invested, so you stay invested. So I think the cycle of abuse will continue for a reasonable, profitable amount of the player base.
Well, okay, so I don't feel abused by the Apple ecosystem.
Not currently, no. You're riding high on the hog right now.
Sure.
But there have
Like,
been some years where you just like, why? Why do I do this to myself?
I mean, I'm not saying Apple's perfect. There are
Right.
definitely shit that Apple does that makes zero sense to me.
Hmm.
Like, have you seen this shit that's been going around? It's memeable now, but it's a real fucking thing. And iFixit did a teardown on it, which is hilarious because it just added fuel to the fire. So they've released an official cleaning cloth. Did you hear about this bullshit?
Official Apple
Yes.
cleaning cloth. Okay.
I'm not fucking shitting you. $20.
What's the thread count?
I don't fucking know, and I don't care. um,
Well, for that to be a Destiny memeable type thing,
yeah.
Apple releases Apple cleaning cloth, voids warranty for anyone that wipes their screen with anything but an Apple cleaning cloth.
Did you know that the Apple cleaning cloth comes with a list of compatible products? I'm not shitting you. You can look this up on the website right
Does it
now.
come with a version number? Please say it comes with a version number.
I don't know, but it should. If it
And it better be some wacky like 2.1.3,
doesn't.
right?
No, it's Apple. It would have to be Apple official cleaning cloth, uh, Albany, some
AOCC,
geographical
yeah, AOCC,
geographical
Santa
thing.
Cruz.
Yeah, Santa Cruz cleaning cloth. The hilarious part is I think CNET did a paragraph review on it. And they were just like, the Apple cleaning cloth.
Wipes good.
It's actually pretty good. Like I think that was it. It was like
Wipes the thing.
8 out of 10 or something. Like, I don't even know.
But what would it take
But
to be a 10 out of 10 cleaning cloth? But you understand the joke, right?
but see, the difference though is like that is an optional thing. I don't need an Apple cleaning cloth.
Mhm.
I'm an Apple zealot. I am not going to buy a fucking
Right.
Apple cleaning cloth.
Same thing. Do you
I
need
don't
the
have to
30th
buy-
anniversary?
I don't have to buy the Apple cleaning cloth to keep using my iPhone.
Mhm.
You would have to buy the anniversary deluxe edition to get the dungeon. That's the point.
Right, but it's also an add-on. It's
True.
not
You don't have to buy it. That's
right.
true.
It is not part of the narrative, which that I will give them credit for, because the second that they start spinning these add-ons off where you can't progress story or you lose parts of the story, that's when I'll start calling foul.
But see, they already did that to me when I was getting off Beyond Light
Mhm.
with the whole fucking what was the thing, and you go into like the time thing with the hexagons and you save the Titan or whatever.
Oh, the Spire or the sundial?
Whatever the fuck that was.
Mhm.
Because I couldn't get to that stuff because you had to buy the season pass for it.
That's season pass. No. That is different. That is different than a 30th anniversary bundle additional to. This is the issue I'm having with the next upcoming deluxe edition is you have the standard edition with the season pass, but it almost feels like the deluxe edition gives you dungeons that are narratively relevant. And that's kind of bullshit. I'm gonna wait and bite my tongue until it happens. But if it's something like, in this case, the 30th anniversary is a perfect example of it's not going to change the story. Festival of the Lost that's currently going on right now doesn't affect the story. So if you want to charge a couple bucks extra for that and have people what? Yeah. So I was in the middle of an epic, well, not epic, Destiny 2 rant.
Yeah.
When you decided to have a software failure.
Well,
we don't know yet. We don't know how much of a failure.
If it's just not doing what it's supposed to be doing, but everything looks normal on the screen.
Right.
Like, like,
no good deed goes unpunished.
Like, I don't know. It's a weird one.
But no, I believe I was saying, yeah, like this 30th anniversary doesn't look like it's narratively relevant, so I'm okay with them charging extra for it. But it remains to be seen if the 2 dungeons that are coming with the deluxe edition next year have that, like, they gatekeep you out of relevant story. Festival of Lost has been a great standalone event that I've not participated in because one, I haven't had the time, and 2, it just wasn't really for me. It's better than the Infinite Force they did last year and the year before. It's different. It just felt a lot of samey after a while because I think it only put you through 3 different iterations of Lost Sectors.
I'm supposedly able to access it, but I'm also like 250 light level lower than it's recommended.
Right.
And the boys are saying, don't go in it, you'll die.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
Oh yeah. I'm above that, and I'm still getting walloped pretty hard. This is the same way I feel about Gambit now. Ever since they got rid of when they did Gambit, then they did Gambit Prime, and then Gambit Prime was just a little beefier, kind of a different version of Gambit, and they had the specializations, which I really like that. And then they got rid of it and folded it back into Gambit as a whole. And the enemies just feel a little too beefy for it to be fun. I feel like I'm pounding my head against the wall more often than not. And then you get someone with a with a good invader, and it's like by the time I like getting 15 motes now is a struggle where it used to be at least easy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I understand to a certain point. Like again, put a cap on it at 1320. You know, build it for that. And if you go above and beyond and rank yourself up, then these things should become easy, and they don't. Like Destiny continues to punish you for being good at the game, and that doesn't feel good.
Well, I was trying to think of a good segue. Speaking of abusive relationships,
Mm-hmm.
so Halo Infinite had its campaign reveal.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see this?
I did not. I've been avoiding spoilers. I've been avoiding video for it
Okay.
because I didn't want to have any preconceived notion going in.
How do you want me to approach talking about it then?
Um,
Because I want to talk about it.
Go ahead and talk about it. Like I would rather avoid it and hear it from you than just randomly come across a Twitter thread, right?
So I liked almost everything that they showed.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, graphics are fucking popping.
Well, they better be.
They're fucking killing it, crushing it, which I had no doubt since I played the technical preview and had no problem
And
with
the test flights, right?
Yeah.
Have they done any test flights for campaign, or has it all been PvP?
No, only PvP.
Okay.
And they'll probably, I would guess, since we've got a month to go, there's probably going to be at least one more, I would think, before December 8th.
PvP test flight?
I would think.
Okay.
Yeah, I would think. There's no way they're going to do campaign. No way, because they've never done that in Halo. There's no precedent for it either. So, several things are reconfirmed for being in campaign from the original trailer a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
We will have a TAC map. It has got a crazy visual overhaul. It looks like it's going to be colored and very tastefully detailed in 3D.
Okay.
There is now a collectibles tab, of which it was an interesting campaign reveal because they showed more meat and potatoes of how the game's actually set up than we've seen thus far, other than the one trailer a year ago.
Right.
This is all we've actually seen of campaign gameplay. And then they also hilariously took the time to point out the area that was in the previous area and how much better it looks graphically. And it's actually kind of a tongue-in-cheek campaign thing. It's narrated by Cortana, or at least the voice actress.
The original one?
What do you mean? There's only been one.
Oh, okay.
She has not changed voice actresses.
Okay.
For that character in the Halo series.
Okay.
But she's narrating stuff, and she's like, "Oh, you'll go here, do this, and do this." It's like all very nice, tastefully, well put together ad for the Halo Infinite campaign. But she jokingly referred to, and you'll even, run into old favorites, and it's like the exact scene of like the meme of Craig. You've seen the thing on the Brute that everybody was shitting on because he looks terrible, and now he's got like a bitchin' mohawk and shit. It looks all cool and stuff as Chief kills him. It's a cute little tongue-in-cheek thing in the thing. Anyway, I appreciated it. It was nice to see that 343 was completely self-aware of how much that had become a meme. So there's a TAC map. Yeah, try saying that 6 times fast. There's a collectibles tab, of which they were mum on, but there's some high resolution screenshots. It looks like it's going to be stuff like we would already kind of like find as like Easter eggs in normal Halo games. If you look far enough, like there was one for skulls.
Okay. Kind of like the Doom Guy statues.
Yeah, but maybe they do more than that. It's hard to say because they didn't really get into that. They just show that that's there, and you can infer that that's
Right.
stuff to find
Okay.
in the areas. And it's like 7 or 8 items, I think.
I wonder if it's going to be like, a la Destiny, you know, Lost Ghost, Hidden Lore, Scannables.
Yeah, it might be. So, fuck it. I'm just fucking pull up the goddamn image. Halo Infinite Tac Map.
You going to share it with me?
Yeah, if I can find what I'm looking for. That's the old one from a year ago. Where's the new one? Might help if I change it from campaign tax map to tac map. Tac. Oh, here we go. All right. So, oh god, that did not open the image at all. No, open the image. Mother.
Do the thing.
Download linked file. That's okay. Sure, fine. Fine. Oh, and of course, it doesn't save it as a JPEG. It's an HTML. What? I hate you. I hate this. This is terrible. Come on, let me just take. I don't know. Too many things open here. This is terrible. This is bad podcasting right here. Everyone who's listening can know that this is just terrible. Just give me the fucking image. Did it do it? Yes, I'm dropping it in Skype. All right, there. That's what I'm looking at.
I'm still waiting.
It says it's
there.
sent.
You go. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's stuff in the left there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Of course, it'd be 7. So it's like
05, 03, 2 of 8 area collectibles.
Yeah. So one can kind of think that the one between the skull and the rings, especially since it's got more of them, maybe might be like lore or something. But you'll also notice that there's an upgrades tab. So for the first time ever, we can upgrade Master Chief. And I'll send an image of that because it's not like other upgrade tabs, which is most curious. So the way upgrades are going to work in Halo Infinite is the equipment you can find and use Halo 3-esque wise. You can upgrade that equipment. And not only that, in campaign, you can carry 4 of them at once, which is interesting. Yeah, I've got an image of that for you too. Take a look at that. And they
I like the way the map, it's a pretty good layout.
Looks really good. I actually like the original version too. But this is definitely, this looks more useful. It's detailed enough. It looks great. So you'll see in that other image there. So yeah, so tac map, you've got a map, you've got objectives, you've got icons to go to on your map. Some people are mad about this and they're like, oh, it's Assassin's Creed, Far Crying, Halo. And I'm like,
okay, what's wrong with that?
Yeah, that's usually my first response. And then secondly, what else are you going to do if it's an open ring world Halo?
Right.
Would be my next question. Like, all right, you're just going to not have a map when the world is way bigger than it's ever been? Like, that's just silly. So you'll see there on thruster. So it looks like, because it's not in, or I guess it was a pickup in Halo Infinite now that I think about it. So the thruster basically lets you dodge out of the way, but in the campaign overview trailer, one of the upgrades there lets you dodge, but then you go cloaked for 5 seconds after the dodge is completed.
Okay.
And they show you like juking a brute. And I was like, ooh, Okay, I like that. Completing optional objectives will grant you, your upgrade points, which are called Spartan cores, which are a little arrow icon there. And if you go back to the tac map,
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the collectibles. So it looks like,
Map.
yeah, I can't say that. So it looks like,
All right. It looks like you have to at least find one to complete the mission, but there's 8 total on the map.
yes.
If I'm looking at that right under ransom keep, you've got a 0 of 2, a 0 of
Yeah.
1, a 0 of 2.
Yeah. I would
Same
guess.
icon underneath, 0 of 3, 2 of 8, and 0 of 12. So,
Yeah, it'd be interesting. It looks like targets tab. They didn't really show it too much, but it looks like targets tab is basically just a mission tab.
mhm.
It's nothing particularly interesting. They did not show the database tab, but they did point out that there are a bunch of UI stuff that they've added for campaign to make it more immersive.
Mhm.
And they pointed that out so when you do your upgrade, um, in a cool little animation on screen, uh, your Spartan Maniliar armor has like a system BIOS, and you can see it like going through the routines to install the upgrade,
Oh,
like when you
nice.
put it in, which is kind of cool. I just
It
really like
reminds me
that
of
kind
what
of
was
stuff.
the Tron game back on Xbox, where you'd socket in your versions.
Like Tron.
It was the 3D isometric
3D isometric Tron.
or third person. It might have been a third person shooter.
Yeah, there was a third person
Yeah.
like kind of shooter actiony. It was Evolution. So
Yes, that's the
it
one.
was like it was a prequel to Tron Legacy.
Mhm.
Yes, I know this because I own it, and I'm
But
also
yeah,
a Tron nut.
you'd socket in your upgrades, and your revision number would go up, and I always loved that
Oh
little.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's kind of like that. So those are things. Um, Another big thing here is that they have forward operating bases, FOBs, and it's interesting because some people view this as like, oh, this is just like fucking Far Cry, and I actually have a completely different take on it. It's like Metal Gear Solid,
Okay.
and that, in my opinion, is a good thing. So FOBs are simultaneously waypoints. You can
Mhm.
get picked up by pelicans and stuff. But you can also summon vehicles there, and then they get brought in via pelican. And then you can also select your loadout from different crates and stuff.
I just wonder if it's like a creative way of making save points. Your fobs,
Maybe
right?
they didn't get too much into it, but what I picked up and what many people who've analyzed the shit out of this stuff, like myself and others, is that it's more of a Metal Gear Solid thing because they point out like rescuing Marines and bringing them back to the fob.
Mhm.
And I'm like, okay, that's cool. And like maybe making like because they have these brute keeps that are obviously big installations to go fight
Hmm.
um on the map, which yes, on the surface that could be very Far Cry-esque, which is not necessarily a bad thing.
Right.
Um there's going to be a variety of bosses, and these will be named enemies with health bars and unique AI patterns. And not just
But isn't
like
that like Destiny? Oh, wait. Right.
sure.
Right.
But in fairness, Halo 5 also had that kind of shit too.
Right. No, I'm poking fun at the bill. Well, that's kind of like what Far Cry. Okay.
Sure.
Did you not
Yeah.
like that about Far Cry? No, I loved it. Okay. But that's like Gear Solid. Did you hate that about Metal Gear? No.
I
Then what's
mean,
the problem? Right?
Metal Gear stuff is good, so you want Metal Gear
Right.
stuff in your game, in my
Right.
opinion. So yeah, so they'll be named bosses, and they showed a couple. They showed a brute that had like a face mask that you couldn't shoot off or headshot, and he like throws shit at you.
Okay.
And then they also pointed out, which was a cool one for the book people. They pointed out this. Oh, I'm gonna butcher his fucking name. It's an elite. He's got a specific name, but
Mhm.
he's a Spartan killer. And he's got like a red energy sword, and like his arm was like replaced with like a robot arm, and it's got like a fucking energy shield. He looks fucking like a fucking Sith Lord. It's awesome.
Nice.
So that's a really cool nod
And he's
to the
out of
books.
he's out of the Bookiverse.
He is out of the Bookiverse,
Nice.
which is always good when they bring that stuff in. As a deep Halo fan, I super appreciate that, let alone that I'm gonna have to fight the dude. Let's see, what else did they show? I'm not gonna talk about the 2 new enemies that they showed,
Okay.
because some people were like,
Spoiler.
that's maybe a spoiler.
Okay.
And I didn't want to know about that.
I appreciate that. This is why I don't mind hearing it from you.
Yeah. No, I got your back. I got you, Halo fam. Yeah, they showed 2 new enemies. Without spoiling anything, it seemed like one of them could be, I don't know, it was interesting because even as a Halo person, it was like one of them was like, is that a new faction or is that part of the Covenant? Because I literally don't know.
Right.
Because it's everybody and their dogs picked it apart, and it's like, oh, maybe it's this thing from the book, maybe it's this thing from the book, maybe it's not from the fucking book at all. People don't know yet. And then they showed another enemy, which was definitely, I will tag as a story spoiler. I'm not going to talk about that enemy per se. But the video of it looked fucking super cool. I believe when I watched the campaign overview, it was like, damn. Yeah, the campaign overview was about 7 minutes long. They pointed out that there will be captains in each like rank of
species,
like squad of stuff, but they're not going to be like the captains like in prior Halo games, because they've kind of had like, they'll be like the elite, and then there's the gold elite who's got the, like, the little bigger head or whatever,
the big wart.
They pointed out that they will have smarter AI than the rest of them. And they use the example of like a grunt having like a plasma cannon, and they like bitch slap the grunt and take the plasma cannon from them to use against you.
Or just pick up the grunt with the plasma cannon.
I mean,
as long, and I will say this from the bottom of my heart, if there are no teleporting enemies, no teleport maneuver, I will fucking cry, because that is the worst.
Not a fan of the the Prometheans?
No, not at all. Because it and this comes from Destiny PTSD. Basically, every major enemy now has a teleport function.
Yeah, it's pretty garbage.
Yeah,
but I'm sure it's easier to program for.
I'm sure it is. Take it out, because they always seem to, when the AI is smart enough. I'm 500 yards away, and I scope in with my really good sniper rifle, and they suddenly move. Because,
and with Halo Infinite, because it's so open, you can do that.
Well, yes, but when the enemy moves, when I should be undetectable, just because I scoped in, or if I fire a rocket and at the very last second they sidestep it every single freaking time, right? Again, this is when your AI gets cheesy, or in this case, pops a shield or teleports away every time you're trying to do something offensive. It's the most frustrating AI tactic I've seen being overused. And then the other one is blind fire. Like when your enemies basically all have needlers.
Sure.
Right? And you don't. That's, and they just go, oh, you're near there, we're going to fire, and all these things are going to track you around corners, but you can't shoot us because you don't have that sort of,
sure.
Like, just, please don't. Be creative with your captains.
They showed a couple of other interesting things in that were like really nice granular details. Like they showed the grapple hook being used offensively in a not grappling way. Like for example, they used jackals and like their beam shields.
Mm-hmm.
You grapple their shield and you don't yank them off. They like jerk them off, but in jerking them off, they leave their body open
Clip it.
to be shot. Oh yeah, I guess I did say that. This is I see what's happening now. A complaint that came out of what they showed, and it's a valid complaint because they honestly haven't showed it. Fans are concerned that, you know, of all of the trailers and the only 2 gameplay stuff of single player
Mm-hmm.
is it's like the one Pacific Northwest biome,
Okay.
so to speak, and fans are pretty like, I understand people complaining about that, but at the same time, like if there are more biomes, wouldn't you want to discover them for yourselves?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I remember the Halo 3 days, and there was like that concept art of like Chief in the desert with a scorpion. I
Right.
was like, oh, that's cool. We're gonna get like a desert level. And then I was playing Halo 3 and I was like, oh man, there's no desert level. And then like way later,
Mm-hmm.
oh, desert level, this is fucking awesome.
Right.
You know?
Hey, don't show me everything. You know, maybe
Yeah.
more than one. Like show me the Pacific Northwest biome and then a space level if there is one.
Well, okay, so
Right.
speaking of the space thing, so they literally show um there's a scene in the campaign overview where Chief is going to one of those big tower things that can be seen on the cover art
Mm-hmm.
for the game. It's the big squarish looking thing off to the right if you're looking at the Halo box art. And he's flying in a Banshee, and he like jumps out of a Banshee, rockets another Banshee, and then the third Banshee comes by and he grapple shots to that Banshee, kicking the dude out of the Banshee, you know, super action movie ish
Right.
style. But in doing so, he's doing it over an area where the halo is broken and it's just infinite space down below. And
Nice.
I'm like, oh, that's cool. Because they've said before in text posts on the Halo Infinite Waypoint, you know, it's like, yeah, you can drive off the map
Mm-hmm.
into space. And in this case, it's like, well, okay, cool. Because even if you look at that the TAC map there, it's like, well, yeah, it's broken up, and that's
I don't know
and
how
I would
gravity works on a Halo like that though.
I'm sure there's a
Science reason.
hardcore
Yeah.
sci-fi explanation for how gravity works on a broken ring world like that.
Mhm.
I don't have the answer for that, but I'm
Right.
sure somebody has the answer. But I think, and I would guess based on that TAC map,
Back map.
yeah, the fucking TAC map, it's gonna drive me crazy. That like probably the areas, you know, like if we're looking at this as like whenever I see like a open world or a semi open world, whichever one this Halo ultimately be, since they refuse to call it open world.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Well, it's a
I
Halo.
always
It
like to.
can't be completely open.
I mean, that's true by definition.
Mhm.
um, I would guess the way that they're breaking up the areas you go to is by, you know, the literal space between them.
Right.
Kind of like I always like to think of them like the islands in Grand Theft Auto, where it's like, okay, you got the first island, and you don't really go to the second island until later in the story, you know, so to speak. But you can go there if you steal a jet, you know,
Right.
kind of thing. Like, I would guess that it would
It's
be
not that you
like,
couldn't or shouldn't. It's just you wouldn't. We haven't given you a
sure,
reason to do it, and that's your progression.
yeah. Um, but yeah, they showed some stuff, and some keen-eyed fans had pointed out that there was like this spiky thing like way off in the horizon, and they're like, oh, that kind of looks like a fallen guardian. And then the Halo community manager was like, wink, good eye. And I was like, oh, that's cool to bring back Halo 5 stuff around and stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It was I think it was the best gameplay showing of Halo Infinite we've had since the multiplayer reveal. And then obviously having played the game myself now, at least the multiplayer portion, um, I'm feeling pretty confident
Cool.
about Halo Infinite for December. I didn't hate everything I see. I know some fans are up in arms about the upgrades and the FOBs and the targets and the openness and stuff, and I'm just like,
You know, this is one of those times where I'm going to say it's the nice. This is one of the nice things about having Game Pass
sure. And
is
and then that's another thing too.
if it falls on its face, okay, I'm not out anything.
Well, and at the very least, I have confidence that the Halo Infinite multiplayer will not fall on its face.
Sure.
I think
I
there's
don't
a
know
very
that I'll
low
be. I don't
chance
know
of
that I'll be into the Halo Infinite multiplayer because that's just I've liked the
Sure.
story of Halo. I really wasn't a PvP fan,
Sure.
especially when it started getting hyper competitive.
Sure.
But
Yeah, Halo 5 was a whole other game, and
yeah,
that stuff for sure.
but
So
yeah, I will happily try it. I'm interested in it. Like I don't know that I would. Nah, who am I gonna lie? I'm a Halo wonk as well. I would have pre-ordered this. And
sure.
then if it was horrible, I would have shrugged my shoulders and said, "Well, there's $60 I don't get back."
Yeah, I
So,
mean that's true. Like even if all this shit looked bad, I'd still be there day one.
mhm.
Um, you know.
Does it make me part of the problem? Maybe.
True.
Right?
There is something to be said about like you're getting X, Y, or Z product to support a thing, even if it's bad.
Mhm.
I said in this own show just now, like I'm gonna go see the fucking Uncharted movie from a
Sure.
director who directed the fucking. It's a film. Directed Venom, the first one. Um, and it has weird casting and just weird vibes all around. But I'm gonna
Sure.
go because I do genuinely want to see um
What they do with the content. Yeah.
my video game media in
Mhm.
other forms of media, and
Yep.
I think you know honestly Halo is probably one of the few things that has had successful media outside of video games.
I wish there was so much more other than books.
I mean, there is
There
like
is, but I wish there was so much
there's
more.
lots of little series and
Yeah.
stuff, and obviously the TV series is still coming next year, and that'll be interesting to say
Mhm.
the least. So
Maybe
we'll see.
we'll get a movie out of it finally.
I mean, I don't think so. I think that's why we have the TV series.
We'll see. We'll see what the reception is.
Yeah,
But
and we'll
yeah,
see
yeah,
what it's
I've
like.
always been a big fan of the Halo universe, even when I wasn't a big fan of 5 or, yeah, 5. I wasn't a fan of it. I bought it, I played it, I fell off of it very quickly.
I mean,
So,
I played it for quite a while, 'cause I still have friends who play Halo religiously.
that's where that one shined. If you were soloing
Sure.
with the AI, the game was absolute garbage.
I mean, I wouldn't go so far as to say it's absolute garbage. I think it is
It's a struggle bus when you get to the end game.
the I think for the most part, I agree with you. The end game's bullshit. Um, but I think for the most part, the playing of the campaign is well designed.
Oh, yeah. Always has been.
The plot around that was
Yeah, it's a whole different.
requires YouTube discussions on why it isn't nonsense.
Mhm.
um so yeah, I don't know. I'm stoked for Infinite. Like I cannot wait to move around a ring world, especially in a universe as rich as Halo. Um, and for deep Halo nerds out there, this is they've been saying it for a while now. This is Zeta Halo. This was the prototype ring
Mhm.
from the Forerunners, which is why everything is like older and busted and shit. So it's like not only is it Halo, which is usually presented as very pristine
Mhm.
sci-fi, we're getting like old jank busted Halo ring, and that can only be interesting, and you know there could be all kinds of crazy fucking secrets and stuff there. Like I watched a video just the other day, which was you know, breaking down this campaign footage frame by frame, which is another thing which I forgot to mention. They showed a bunch of wildlife, which was great, because people were wondering if it was gonna have wildlife like the original teaser fucking
Right.
7 years ago, with the wildebeest and stuff. And they showed some weird fucking space turkeys, and there were some fucking space rats and
Sure.
space this and space that. You know, nothing huge like in the original trailer, but there was just some stuff that was like, oh, that's cool. We never had that in previous Halos. You know, there was no wildlife to speak of to
As long as there's not
that environment
a
to
chicken
life.
kicker achievement, then I'll be fine.
Oh, I hope there's a chicken kicker achievement. Are you making a horrible reference? Because I feel like that's a Fable reference.
Was it Fable or was it Skyrim?
There's a literal achievement for kicking a chicken.
Yeah, there might have been Fable, then.
Fable.
Yeah, 'cause one of them my wife was playing, and she got the chicken kicker achievement.
Yeah, and that was also the weird one where if you ate fried chicken, it turned you evil. It made you fatter and it turned you evil.
Nice.
Go figure.
All right, you ready to call it a night? I'm ready to call it a night.
Yeah, I'm fucking exhausted.
All right.
There's always more game stuff to talk about.
Yeah, and well, by the time we do this again, we will be playing
Forza.
Forza.
Yeah, we'll have Forza to talk about. You know what we should do, since you do mention it, and then you've also low key, high key called out my multiplayer toxicity. We should try to do Forza together, because that, you know, it's just chill racing.
Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah, we should try to do that.
Yeah, we'll see where our schedules are. That has been the only issue lately. Is I'm asleep when you're awake. Actually, no, I'm asleep when you're at work. So who knows? Yeah, if you're up for some late night stuff, maybe I'll be up for it.
Sure.
Cool.
Yeah. Sounds good. All right, this has been another episode of the Fork in Your podcast where I have technical issues.
Fraught with technical issues and bio breaks.
Make me edit this with like fucking 6 files. It's me. I'm signing off. I've had 4 hours of sleep. My eyes are actually burning, and I think my voice is starting to crack. So I'm a dead person.
We're gonna change you to burning eyes in the Discord.
Oh God, no! Don't do that. Just because you got privileges to change things around in the Discord doesn't mean you should.
Yeah, you know what? I have not abused that privilege. Okay?
A wise man once said,
"Just because you should,
with great power, there must also come great responsibility." You think on that, Nate. Alrighty. Where are the stop buttons? Ugh, it's so round. I hate it. Thank you for listening to a Dynamicworks production podcast. You can find our podcast at www.dynamicworksproductions.com. Feel free to email us at dynamicworks@mac.com.
Armado, the voice of Guybrush Threepwood, and you're listening to a Dynamicworks production podcast.
The Citadel, Arrival, is the first installment in a series of epic science fiction short stories reminiscent of the Pulp Fiction style. It's a fast-paced story that will take you through twists and turns that you will not expect, until they are thrust upon you with all the force, excitement, and chaos of a plasma cannon blast. The story follows Katarl, a nobody cog in the working wheels of a futuristic society run completely by Megacorp, a corporation that carefully runs and manages the lives of the people living under its sphere of power. On one of Katarl's few and far between days off from work, an outing he had hoped would be fun and relaxing turns into an explosive adventure that drags him kicking and screaming into situations and challenges that will make him question every aspect of his life. Watch this colorful tapestry unfurl as Katarl and his newfound allies find their way through this classic, yet oddly surprising tale of good and evil, where nothing is quite what it appears to be. That's The Citadel, Arrival by author Tim K.A. Trotter, available right now on Amazon Kindle Store and iTunes iBookstore for only $2.99. Why did Oh, that's probably what I need to do. Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
Cool. Can you hear all those dogs?
Yep.
Yeah.
As usual.
Right as I get everything fixed.
You're like, it's about the time for podcast.
Yeah, that's fucking weren't barking earlier. Of course now. So it goes. Do I sound louder to your ear than last time?
It's hard to tell because
The dogs.
I've been having like headset issues and audio issues all week.
Oh, okay.
You may not.
Well, hopefully I turned the dial in the right direction.
You sound fine if it's anything. Louder or softer.
Yeah, no, it's not that. It's on the edit. I've been adding like 10 extra decibels of gain to me.
Gotcha.
In post so that I can be somewhat on the level with you in the at least with the source file that you've been giving me.
Sorry that I'm so powerful.
I mean, you've you're obviously the more professional of the two. So yeah. Speaking of that, where did they? Oh, there it is.
Speaking of which, if we're both doing local copies now, why are we still doing Skype?
Because of the backup that Skype can provide.
Oh, it's still working? Okay.
Yeah.
I thought that was going away. Or that went away.
No, so the built-in Skype recording is part of Skype now, officially. The recorder I used was a third-party app.
Gotcha.
That they, for some reason, were like, fuck
and
it,
you used it just because
work.
of the quality.
Yeah, because
Right.
it's and it also because it had a handy dandy little feature where it interpreted however the hell Skype's protocol works to actually split the audio streams. Yeah, that's what I used for 15 years.
Yeah.
And then what was it, March when this started? It was right after you became
Something like
full time bi-weekly, where they just said, fuck it, it's too much work, and we're not building a new one for the M1 chipset.
Right.
And it's like, what?
Yeah.
That's so bizarre.
I remember that.
Yeah, whatever. It's okay. So yeah, so we're A-okay on audio quality until we get a guest.
And then you're going to be relying on me somehow to split that out.
Well, I mean, it'll probably just be the full mixed file that gets recorded natively in Skype.
Right.
Because what else are you going to do? You know? So, yeah. And then there was a product that I was going to investigate, but then haven't. That was supposed to do a similar function.
Oh, hey, Tim, before we go live, mute your phone.
Yes, thanks. I'll just scroll down on the interface here and hit mute dogs as well, because
Right.
of course that's just an illusion. All right. Skype is rolling. Skype is rolling with its new interface, which is I don't like.
Oh,
Logic is
mine haven't
rolling.
changed, so must be a
Logic
Mac
is
thing.
rolling
Yep.
with its brand new interface, which I fucking hate. Which is terrible. This is not the first time that they've attempted to quote unquote pretty up the Logic interface, and it's like, no, just stop it.
The road is rolling and the flux capacitor is fluxing.
Yeah, because we did all the updates this week. We did we're on the new Mac OS, we're on the new Logic, and as of a few minutes ago, we're on the new Skype. So there we go. This is
All the things are updating. It seems like every time I turn on my computer, I have to update like 7 different things.
Yeah.
Thank
Well,
God for good
you-
internet.
Did you downgrade from 11 back to 10?
I had never re-upgraded. I did 11 during one of the test demos or test candidates, and I went, nope, roll back.
Fair enough.
And yeah, they have been giving me little pop-ups. You know, your computer is compatible with 11. I'm like, yeah, thanks, no thanks.
Yeah, my PC was yelling at me about that the other day too. And I was like, Nate says no, so I'm not gonna do it.
Well, and here's the difference. How familiar with Windows are you?
More so now in the last, how long have I had this? Month or two?
Right.
You know? And only because I'm like, I want to do blah. I can't figure out the interface, so I'm gonna bug Nate or my friend or YouTube.
Right. I mean, at this point, you could go to 11, and it's not like me. It's relearning years of interface.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah, I know.
That I just don't want to do again. I think they finally got it right with 10. Not that 11's horrible. It's just horrible for me.
I think what I'll do is maybe in like 6 to 8 months, I'll move over to 11 when they've all got all their kinks
Oh, definitely.
ironed out.
Jeez.
Christ.
Which dog is winning?
I don't know, man, but clearly something's happening. It is a row, to be sure. All right, let's fucking somehow do this with dogs barking, I guess. Hopefully the noise floor on my end will cut it out of the actual audio.
Episode 1 of the Dog in Your Ear podcast.
Oh man, that's a whole different prong of show on the non-existent Patreon. Right next to fork desserts and fork main course.
And only forks?
And only forks? Yeah, sure, only forks. That'd be great. Just like really exotic pictures of forks. I should do that with the macro camera. Just like, yeah, forks next to mashed potatoes. Forks next to meatloaf. Forks next to Taco Tuesday.
And when he does this, he has receipts that it was my idea.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. Let's count us down and cut us in.
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cut in. I have more to say, but I need to have a bio break before I die. Can we manage one of those?
Sure.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna go take a bio break. Duly note this in the edit, Tim, or leave it in and let Nate destroy you in some sort of ranting fashion.
No, I'm not going to rant. I'm actually
can.
going to. I'm going to take you up on the same opportunity.
Okay,
Go
fair
bye.
enough.
Do you feel better now?
What?
Do you feel better now?
Oh, better. Like, ridiculously better.
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cut in.
Cut in. Uh-oh.
Don't uh-oh me.
Anyways, I'm uh-ohing.
Why?
What the fuck?
Did you break something?
No, Logic isn't recording.
How long has it not been recording?
I don't know. It stopped at 3 hours and 14 minutes.
Okay, so about 15 minutes. I'm at 2 hours and 30 minutes.
Okay. God damn it.
And for whatever reason, your Logic likes to add an hour onto whatever the actual record time is.
I mean, I don't know. I'm just reading what the numbers are on the
Okay.
thing. I don't know. It's 3, and then there's decimals, and then it's 14, then decimals, and then 42, and then more decimals, and then a point, and then 42.
Okay, well,
I don't know.
you'll have half a file from me, and I did kind of marker it on my way out for my bio and back. So,
Well, I guess the question now is, do I just cut it?
yeah,
from
cut it
what
in.
You're.
No, just
Do I just-
bring it back in.
Do you want me to record now on my end? And
Sure.
then go from there, and then I'll cut in what you have in the middle
Correct.
from the bio break?
Correct.
Okay.
And I will give
so much for getting
you.
this out tonight.
I will give you a cut in.
Yeah,
There you
I don't know why it stopped. That's the thing. I don't understand.
It needed a
And
bio
I'm
break as well.
I'm really hoping whatever they changed, because the interface looks different on Logic now. Like, it's not like crazy different. Like, they just fucking changed the colors, made things more roundy and shit. You know, which is annoying because I hate that on a pro app. It should fucking stay how I remember it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just hoping they didn't change
Like put some sort of weird
some
file
kind
size
of
limit.
function.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which there shouldn't be, because I record to an external SSD. So there's definitely no like size constraints of my internal drive, because I record big
Right.
anyway. So, all right. Hitting record on Logic. Why the fuck is the metronome on suddenly? What the fuck? All right. We're rolling in Logic.
You don't have a cat, do you?
No, I'm allergic to cats. So, but okay, that's weird. All right, let's do another cut in, and
All right.
this will just be a weird part.
3, 2, 1. Cut in.
Cut in.
Okay.